Hello, Cal State Fullerton. We are the hashtag Walkaway campaign. We are the largest national movement of former Democrats walking away from the Democratic Party. We are former liberals, former leftists. Some people in this movement are former socialists, communists, Marxists. All of us have walked away from the political left because we believe that the political left has become a radicalized group in America, and the Democrats have become a radicalized party that is tearing our country apart, sowing division, chaos, hatred, bigotry, and all things that are not good for America. All we ask is that you step up to the mic if you have a question.
Yeah, come on.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Look like nice guys.
You do look like nice guys.
We're pretty nice guys.
Okay.
I was just wondering, I've been a conservative my entire life, but I saw your sign that said you think January 6th was a Democratic Party inside job. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Sure. No problem. So his question was, we have a sign that says the January 6th was a Democratic Party inside job. What we mean by that is that there's become a media narrative about January 6th that Donald Trump was to blame for what happened on January 6th, when in fact, if you look at the actual evidence of what happened on that day, Donald Trump tried far in advance to get 10,000 National Guard troops to guard the Capitol when intel had come in that there could possibly be a disruption on January 6th, that it was obviously going to be a pretty emotionally charged day. Nancy Pelosi declined the opportunity to have National Guard guarding the Capitol on that day, as well as Democratic Party Mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser. So part of what we're contesting is this narrative that somehow Donald Trump, who also told people to march peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol on January 6th, is responsible for what happened on that day when he actually tried to prevent it. And Democrats went out of their way to make sure there wasn't ample security and enough protection on that day. And it kind of begs the question, did they possibly want that to happen? I mean, the Democrats created a narrative for 4 years that Donald Trump was an unhinged lunatic and that his followers were violent and anarchistic, but there was no evidence in 4 years to back that up. And in all likelihood, January 6th would have been one of the final days of Donald Trump's presidency. And I think it kind of begs the question, did they want something to happen? Did they want there to be violence? If you have a question, we would love to hear from you. Do you have any response to what I said?
No, not really. All that stuff is kind of stuff that I've already heard, which is why I've always been a conservative myself. What in particular made you turn to the Conservative Party or away from the Democratic Party?
Sure. So all of us are former Democrats. I'd say in a nutshell, for me, it had to do with the realization that the media that I'd been trusting my entire life was lying to me. I was a two-time Obama voter. I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and when Donald Trump got elected, I was having a total meltdown. I mean, crying, angry, scared. I was believing everything that the media was saying about Donald Trump, that, he was a racist, a bigot, that his follower, this was a backlash against a black president. That's what the media was saying, and I believed all of it. And so after I felt that way for about 2 weeks after his election, I made a decision that this was going to be a very long and torturous 4 years if I didn't try to understand how did he get elected and how did the media that I trusted, sources like MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, etc., how did they get it so wrong? And so I kind of went back to all the narratives about his campaign. Like, did he really call all Mexicans rapists? Did he really mock a disabled reporter? Does he really advocate for the sexual assault of women or removing Muslims from our country? And when I went back and I kind of revisited all of these moments that the media created these sound bites about and these narratives about, what I discovered and watched them in full context, started watching his speeches, started watching the full thing, not just the CNN sound bites. What I started to see in instance after instance was that the media that I had been trusting was creating false narratives and spinning moments out of context on purpose to try to be emotionally exploitative and manipulative, to create a false narrative that Donald Trump was all of these things and that his supporters were all of these things that were untrue. And when I started to see it time and time and time and time again, I began to realize that Donald Trump was not my enemy, but the media that I had been trusting my entire life was my enemy. And I didn't walk right out the door and into the door of supporting Trump. I mean, it was probably anywhere from 6 to 9 months that I had already decided I had to leave the liberal media. I had to leave the Democratic Party. I had to leave the ideology of liberalism. But it was many, many months later before I started to realize that Donald Trump was not what I had been led to believe that he was. And now I voted for Donald Trump in 2020 and 2024, and I consider myself MAGA, and I consider myself a Trump supporter.
Awesome.
Oh, do you have something else?
No, I was just going to say thank you for that.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we're glad that you stopped by. I had a similar experience to him, but I had it a little bit later. I thought the response to COVID felt like a betrayal. I lost both of my jobs overnight in March of 2020, and I did everything that was asked of me. I wore a mask. I only went out to the grocery store. I stayed home. I had a grandmother die alone needlessly. I kept doing everything they asked of me, didn't complain, was completely reasonable. And then summer 2020, we were all told that we could go out and protest or riot or loot on behalf of BLM, which was an organization I would have been friendly to because I was a liberal. I had voted for Hillary Clinton. I had voted for Obama twice. But we still couldn't go to work. We still couldn't visit family. We couldn't visit dying family members. I thought that was crazy. And I support everyone's right to peacefully protest, but the fact that we had legacy media, talking heads, we had even a large portion of the medical community. I live in Los Angeles. Los Angeles obviously milked COVID for all it was worth, telling us to go out and protest, but we were in the middle of this deadly pandemic. And when I brought that up to all of my liberal friends, I was called racist and I was called selfish. And there was a refusal to acknowledge that I might have an honest reason for disagreeing with them. And so that's when I walked away from the Democrat Party, because I thought the Democrat Party was for the little guy, the guy who needs to go to work, the guy who needs to visit his family, he has a dying grandmother, and it turns out that they weren't. And then I looked into Donald Trump slowly, like you. It was a period of months. It wasn't overnight. And I realized that I'd been lied to. I watched the full Charlottesville press conference that had happened 3 years prior in 2017. Realized he didn't say there's very fine people on both sides. He actually said there's very fine people on both sides, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists because they should be condemned totally. And that blew my mind because I had voted for Hillary Clinton. I had had it on good authority. In fact, during that time, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were telling me that Trump refused to condemn white supremacy. I went on YouTube. There's compilation after compilation of him condemning white supremacy over the decades, probably more than any president we've had. And so then I realized how much I'd been lied to. And if you have to lie to me so much about this man, clearly he's not quite as bad as they say. So that's why I walked away from the Democrat Party. And we've got a few more down here.
Hi, so my wake-up moment was also around the same time in 2020. And really, just for context, I used to have TDS. I never liked Trump. I hated conservatives. I considered myself a Democrat. I voted for Obama, and I voted for Obama specifically because I thought it was time for a black man to be president, not because he actually had good policies and ideas, but because he's black and I'm black, and therefore, 1 + 1 = 2. And then during the Black Lives Matter protests, I say this in quotation marks, I realized that a lot of people who look like me were acting a little bit crazy, burning things down and burning down black-owned businesses, all in the name of fighting racial injustice, which didn't quite make sense to me. And then I see Joe Biden get on TV saying that he's going to defeat white supremacy. And it was just, the combination of all of these instances where I started putting together this picture of how the Democrat Party utilizes identity politics to basically expand their voter base. If I ask the average Democrat voter who is black, what has so-and-so done for you? It's all topical stuff, but nothing tangible. And that's why I had to walk away, because I don't like being put in a box. I don't like being people implying that because of my race, I'm supposed to vote a certain way and hold certain types of worldviews and beliefs. But here I am walking away from the Democrat Party, and people on the other side are looking at me like I betrayed my race. And so, that's very problematic. And that's why I'm with the Walkaway crew, to hopefully wake other black people up and say, hey, you don't need to support someone just because they look like you. Your value isn't a color, okay? That's not how it works. So, that's my story.
I was a lifelong Democrat my entire life because I always was told Democrats are the good people, Republicans are the bad people, Democrats just want to help the poor and solve racism and all that crap. And in 2016, when I was trying to research who to vote for between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, because of course Republican is not an option, I found that you really can't inform yourself and do research without being shouted down. And that was around the time that all of these things started popping up that you are basically forced to believe in that aren't real, from systemic racism to 97 genders to rape culture, toxic masculinity, all of these things. And I learned overnight that if you don't believe in these fictitious things, you're a Nazi, you're a racist. And I think really once you see through one lie with them, you start seeing through all of their lies. So I ended up walking away.
Thank you for your message, and I hope you guys get some more people to come up and talk to you.
My question is, can you explain what black privilege is?
So I think black privilege is a myth, just like white privilege. And I think specifically, I think black privilege is the ability to blame all of your problems and shortcomings on white people or the system or anything
Can I have
else.
some examples?
Yeah, so systemic racism has prevented me from getting a good job, getting a house, but then when I ask people specifically how have these institutions affected you personally, no one can ever give me an example. I asked this guy the other day, and he told me that systemic racism impacted his life personally because he has to commute an hour to work every day. And that's, I don't know how that's...
traffic.
And there's traffic, yes. Traffic only affects black people, yes.
But I think there's more, profound impacts too than just inconveniences. I mean, so I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, to understand who truly has power, all you have to do is look at who is allowed to control the environment or control the conversation. So I think what's so dangerous about these narratives that we've been hearing, particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, we keep being told about how black people in our country are so oppressed, but it's really used to control and dominate other people and shut down conversation. I mean, we've been being told for 4 or 5 years that if you're white, you're not allowed to talk, you're not allowed to have an opinion, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. There are even college campuses in the country, they're saying that if you're white kids, you're not allowed to you have to sit the day out. It's, these things can never happen in reverse. If the same exact things that are being told to white people were being told to black people would start literally burning down neighborhoods and saying that the people who are making these comments are racist and bigoted. So there's definitely a double standard that's happening, but the double standard that's being applied is that it's white people who are not allowed to talk. It's white people who are not allowed to participate. And in addition to that, it's even become bigger than that, to the point where we've now institutionalized what we call diversity, equity, and inclusion. But these are just policies that are designed to prevent white people from being able to get jobs, promotions, admissions into college campuses. And
I see a bunch of
thank
white
you very
people
much.
talking right now. I've never felt as a white person that I can't express myself. So,
Really?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So can you tell me cause I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because there's 300 million people in the country.
Can you keep your voice up?
There's 300 million people in the country. So I'm sure it happens somewhere, but I don't think it's systematic.
You don't?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, we know for a fact that colleges across the country are prioritizing diversity quotas over meritocracy. So, number one, thousands and thousands of white students are being depressed.
Okay, can we stop there? Do you think that there's a way to measure someone's ability to be successful in college, or do you feel that college is just something to get like a certification so you can get a job, or is it a place where you can better yourself?
Well, it should presumably be both, but there was a time where the standard used to be to enter college, you had to have a certain grade point average or certain achievements under your belt, more than just what the color of your skin was.
So do you think there's a test we can give someone to determine if they will be successful, or if college will help them better their lives? Do you think that any of that's true?
Well, we've been taking aptitude tests in our country for
Do you
many,
think
many
they're
decades.
effective to show that people will not be able to advance themselves when they are presented with the opportunity of going to college.
Okay. Well, so the question the girl was asking was about black privilege.
The question I asked, though, I don't.
No, I know, but I
asked.
feel like you're demonstrating right now an example of what we're talking about, because it sounds like what you're saying is that a certain group of people should not be expected to have to rise to the same standards as everybody else because they may potentially have aptitude that hasn't been unlocked yet. So do you think that that's fair?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. What I'm getting from what you're saying, it sounds like, is that college could be a place where somebody could go to, better themselves or unlock their potential, even if they haven't yet proven their potential through the grades that they've earned or the aptitude tests that they've taken to get into college. And so I guess my question is, would you apply that same standard to white kids? Like if white kids got bad grades, did badly on their aptitude tests, would you say, well, they should just be allowed to go to college and unlock their potential one day?
Yes, I did bad on all those things, and I'm here.
Okay, well, I don't know what the explanation for that is.
What do you mean? I think that
I don't know how you got into this school with bad grades. I don't know.
I went to the military.
We are letting him speak. Everyone's allowed to speak, and we'd love for you to come over and speak as well.
And I'm in this college, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I've never been silenced as a white person. I know a lot of white people, and I've never felt that they've been silenced either for being white. So I don't understand where this is.
Okay, sir, they're alleging that we've intentionally turned your microphone. Okay, can you step away from the microphone for a moment? Just step away from it. I'm not going to touch anything. Hello. Welcome to UC Fullerton. All you have to do is amplify your voice. Sorry, excuse me. Cal State Fullerton. All you have to do is amplify your voice and speak into the microphone. They're both set at exactly the same level. There's nothing we can do if somebody approaches the mic and says, I have a question for you. All you have to do is amplify your voice.
So where are white people being silenced? Because I've not seen
You're
it on
being
this campus.
silenced right now by this group of very loud, rude individuals who don't want to get in line and talk to us and are silencing their colleagues who are trying to have a conversation.
I mean, you could try to pit me against them, but I just want to ask.
I'm not trying to pit you against them.
Well,
it's just a fact that they're shouting you down.
It's not a fact. I don't feel silenced by them. I don't feel silenced by you guys. I'm sorry if they are trying to paint that out. Anyway, so where are white people being silenced? Let's just start with this campus. On this campus, where are white people being silenced?
Okay, so across the country,
This campus, please. Does it not happen on this campus?
I can't give you specific examples because I don't go to this school, but I can give you examples that are happening in our culture across the country.
So it doesn't happen on this school.
You're asking me. I mean, that's like, what if I asked you what I had for breakfast today? Like, you can't. You weren't there,
I had
right?
Eggs.
Right.
I had eggs. You came here to talk about this shit, and you have no. There's no white people being silenced here. If there was, I'm sure you would have something to say about it.
We're here to talk about topics that are happening in our culture, in our country.
Okay, so
you're trying to say that it's not happening because I can't name an example of something that happened at a place where I wasn't present.
I'm saying that I haven't either, and I go here, and I'm a white person, and I know a lot of white people that go here. And I'm saying that from my perspective, as someone who goes here and talks to people and is a president of a club here.
I get it, but with respect, sir, it did literally just happen to you, and you excused it. So you don't exactly come across as the kind of person who would internalize or recognize it while it's happening. You seem like somebody who would just tolerate and accept it because you've been conditioned to believe that that's your job to do that. And that is actually part of the problem. Like you are actually allowed to tell people to stop being rude to you.
Wait. So
you don't just have to take people's rudeness, but you've been conditioned to believe that you do have to do that.
Look, I'm gonna give it to you. Okay. So you're saying that.
Okay, but you've also got people behind you too.
Okay. So you're saying I've internalized the silence that is happening to me or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's possible that it is happening here. I just wouldn't know because I can't perceive it.
Got it.
So
I agree with you. I don't think you can perceive it. I agree with that.
But you don't have any evidence to change my mind that there is.
We literally just witnessed it happen, and you
I disagree
again did not perceive it.
I'm talking right now. They didn't silence me.
Okay.
They didn't silence me at all.
Well, it sounds like you're having a great experience.
So them shouting for 5 seconds is proof that white people are being silenced. What if I was Mexican and they shouted, would that be?
Sure,
that would
I
improve
understand what you're
anything.
saying. It seems like some people are offended at the idea of saying no to black privilege, even offended at the idea that black privilege might exist. So is it possible that it is equally as offensive to tell a white person whose shoes you haven't been in and whose life you don't know that they have white privilege? Is it possible that maybe we should just negate the whole notion of privilege based on race and telling people what their lived experience actually is when we don't know?
I'm just confused. I'm just trying to keep it on one topic. Where are white people being silenced? And you guys are making up something to like try to get me away because I don't think you can answer my questions, and you guys maybe are feeling silly right now. I don't know.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hi. Do you believe that you have white privilege?
I don't know. I guess maybe.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
You
what,
guess?
what's white privilege to you guys?
Well, I don't
I'll
believe
let you
I don't
guys
believe white
define it.
privilege exists, but as a white man,
Well,
I'm
what's black
curious if
privilege
you
then?
believe white privilege
Do you
exists.
believe black privilege exists then?
Well, that's a question for you.
No, I'm asking you. That's
So-
why I asked
All right,
you.
so the answer is no. You don't think you have white privilege as a white man?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's
We would love for you to come and talk.
who's
I-
who's
I-
who's
I
putting
don't know
that-
what you're saying. You're screeching.
Where did the idea of black privilege come from? Because if you're fighting against liberals
See, this is
saying
what the
white
left
privilege,
does. This is what the left does. When you don't have an argument, you start
Well, I have
screaming
an
on the top
argument,
of
and
your
I'm talking
lungs.
to you right now.
Unfortunately, you're being silenced
So,
by your fellow comrade over
where
here.
is-
We would
where
love
is
to
black
hear from
privilege?
you.
Where's black privilege coming from then? Because it sounds like you
Okay,
guys are kind
sir,
of
I'm sorry.
pressing that.
Thank you. Let's let the people behind you go, and then you can get back in line, and we can start again if you want. But let the
I
people
don't
behind
feel
you
like
speak.
it. What, you guys-
Yeah, okay, you owned us. It was brutal. Thank you.
Hi, my name is.
Can you keep your voice up, please? Because they keep thinking we're muting you
Okay.
guys.
I'll speak up. I heard you speaking about like campuses and people not trying as hard, to get in as say a white student. I think historically, there's like historically black colleges and universities, but those were created in a sense because the education system, at least, in the past, discriminated against students of color. Like black students, Hispanic students, Asian students, they had trouble getting into universities like USC, Stanford, like Ivy League, and that's where Brown University and like other colleges sort of came out. Like, I guess when you say like students don't have to try as hard now because they are a certain race or a certain protected class, I guess, it's like the argument like there is no white privilege, but I see it, on a daily basis. I work not too far from here, and I see guests that are rude to my coworkers who are Hispanic, and then I walk up and I start talking to the guests, and all of a sudden they're nice to me, and I see it every day. So I guess my question is, like, when you walk, through our country every day, do you not see, people like discriminating against each other, and see this problem still?
Well, you just shared a story. So here's my story, and it is part of why I walked away. And I would say that this is maybe, if black privilege exists or non-white privilege exists, then maybe this is an example. So in 2020, I talked about it a little bit before, but most people weren't here. I was doing everything that was asked of me. The world was shut down. I stayed home. I complied with everything. I allowed a grandmother to die alone, needlessly, take her last breaths alone.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then in summer 2020, George Floyd happened, and I was told, we were all basically told implicitly and explicitly that we could go out and protest or riot on behalf of that, because riots happened in Los Angeles, where I came from.
Yes, I saw.
But we still couldn't go to work. We couldn't visit dying family. We couldn't do those things. And whenever I brought this up, because you shared a story, so I'm sharing a story, I was called racist. And that would not have happened if I were non-white. And the thing of it is, I had a grandmother die alone.
Right.
Okay? I'm never going to get those last moments with her. I was paycheck to paycheck. I help out my elderly parents. So these people, when we're talking about, it goes back to what I said to the gentleman behind you, when we're talking about what other people experience, maybe the reality is that we just don't know. And if we're offended at the idea of black privilege, then maybe we can put ourselves in other people's shoes and understand why some people might be offended at the idea of white privilege being everywhere, because that is an example where a white person was silenced because you're not allowed to push back on the way we're behaving around COVID because you're white and you're privileged and you're buffered in some way from life suffering.
It's like I agree with the hypocrisy of 2020 and 2021, where people were told to stay home, But of course, you see people.
They're
rioting.
asking you to speak up because they can't hear you.
Okay, I'll speak up. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
No, don't be. You're doing great.
I did see the hypocrisy where but for me, I saw that hypocrisy in leaders of this country going out and partying while we were all supposed to be inside and respecting social distancing. So I do agree. The Democratic Party is obviously corrupted, but I would argue that the Republican Party is too. I would say the two-party system itself is an outdated system, and at the end of the day, the people with the money win, the lobbyists win. AIPAC wins, whether or not people say they fight on a certain issue or stance. And I would like to see it happen where, people can stand up for what they believe in and not worry about losing funding for their campaigns because, this country's getting more and more divided, and it feels like, people profit off of everyone fighting, and it's we're in a really tough time.
Why do you think that we're becoming more divided? What do you think? What?
A part of me thinks it's meta and social media and the.
I'm sorry. I know I just asked you a question, but I asked you the question, why do you think we're becoming more divided? And people behind you are shouting because of you, because of you. I'm just curious. Do you think that's crazy, considering we came here today to try to have a conversation and find common ground, but we're being called the divisive ones?
I think the signs may definitely start a conversation. I do think that we're having a good debate right now, but I do see why this would definitely look. We got emails about you guys, I think, coming to college campuses ahead of time. So I think everyone just kind of knew that there was going to be perhaps an argument that would happen here. And I just wanted to come up and ask you a question because I just happened to be walking to class. I actually do have to go to class soon. But I just wanted to hear your perspectives.
We appreciate that. And thank you. And just so you guys know, the volume is literally at max. It can't get any louder. And it's the exact same speaker. So we just need the question askers to keep their voices up. That's all. Was there another question you had that we haven't answered?
No. I need to go to class. So I'll let the last.
We thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you all for stopping by here. I feel like, as annoying as some people might find y'all or the guitar player, it's still kind of cool to live in a country where we can do this kind of stuff. So thanks for coming here.
Yeah. Can you keep your voice up, please?
Yes. Like any good student, I utilized artificial intelligence to come up with a question or two I could ask. Just curious, y'all's perspective. Because I'm someone who is not affiliated with the Democratic Party. Can you point to a moment when the Walkaway movement publicly challenged right-wing extremism with the same intensity it targets Democrats?
His question was, and by the way, guys, will it make any difference if we switch mics? Okay, let's try switching mics. 1 second, and then we'll answer your question. Sorry, guys, can you help me here?
My question was, can you point to a moment when the Walkaway movement publicly challenged right-wing extremism with the same intensity it has targeted Democrats?
It's a great question. So his question is, can we name a moment when the Walkaway campaign, which is what we are, challenged right-wing extremism with the same what? Word? Intensity as left-wing extremism. Could you give me an example of right-wing extremism?
Sure. I think about Charlottesville, someone said behind me. I could also think about January 6th. Did you ask about right-wing?
Yeah. In order to answer your question, I would...
Or just maybe grift in general, broadly. Y'all are probably affiliated with a lot of people who have podcasts, and you probably see a lot of things on the inside that you probably don't feel publicly talking about.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to hear. I've talked with people who are in the right-wing movement who sometimes will say behind the scenes, it's scummy on the right-wing side of things.
Yeah.
So, I would just love to hear, as someone who, I'm not approaching this as a hardcore Democrat either.
Yeah. There you go.
It would be cool to hear our side is a piece of shit too sometimes.
Sure. Okay. So number one, Charlottesville, which we kind of covered before, was a huge example of media misinformation about what happened that day. However, if there were, in fact, neo-Nazis there in Charlottesville that day, I think any of us don't have any issue whatsoever condemning neo-Nazism. I do see growing anti-Semitism happening on both sides of the aisle, which I have no trouble condemning entirely. January 6th, of course, we vehemently condemn violence as an expression of somebody's political position. The problem is that there was no condemnation or very little condemnation of the Black Lives Matter violence in 2020. That I mean, it was like January 6th every single day, but nobody seemed to care when that was happening in 2020. And I do at times think that there are certain factions within the right, like influencers who might have their own little bubble and their own little base that I consider to be I can't say that I find it alarming because I don't think that they have enough. I don't think that they have enough support behind them to. I mean, here's the other thing too. A lot of people on the left love to say like, "Oh, well, the KKK supports Donald Trump," and so. First of all, I don't even know if that's true, but even if it is true, there's less than 2,000 members of the KKK left in this country. I mean, why are we even still talking about the KKK? They are they're so irrelevant at this point. It's not even worth talking about. So, I mean, if the question is, do I condemn extremism on both sides? 100%. I just think that extremism on the left has become completely normalized. And if you could have been with us in West Hollywood 2 days ago, it was unbelievable what was allowed to happen from the left in terms of extremism. Did you have something you wanted to say? Yeah.
I just don't agree that these are equal issues, left-wing extremism and right-wing extremism. Although we can't stand either of them, we've actually been protested by members of the actual far right who hates us for being gay, for being different types of people. But these are not equal issues. When you have institutions and leaders in this country bending a knee quite literally and telling people to go out and riot, telling them don't let up, racism is a public health issue, so while everyone else has to stay home, you can go out and riot. These are things that have been completely mainstreamed. You had Joe Biden saying that violent Antifa leftist activists it's just an idea. So they would lie to claim that Trump runs cover for right-wing extremism, while Democrat and leftist politicians openly embrace it every day.
I also just want to add that we all have different walkaway stories. So, like, I am politically homeless. I'm not affiliated with the right or the left. I just know that the left I walked away from, and I can't go back. So I publicly condemn a lot of craziness on the right, but I think the question is like we need definitions of what extremism is, because I think for a lot of people think holding an American flag is extremist. And this is something that I've noticed as someone who used to be on the left, is that leftists are being bred to hate this country. You know, a lot of people over here are screaming Nazi this and Nazi that, but I'm sure they probably think Marxism is totally fine, even though Marxism is in direct opposition to the U.S. Constitution. So, to answer your question, I'm independent. I go where the truth is. I use critical thinking, and I follow the evidence wherever that leads.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to any of the students shouting at us from the Hill, you're welcome to come on over and speak into the microphone. We'd love to actually talk to you. You'll be able to hear better if you get closer, and we'll be able to hear you better if you come to the microphone.
Okay. What is your name on the left? Yeah. Vanessa? Okay, so I heard you talk about being a critical thinker and like being on the side of truth, so I'd like to speak a lot of truth today.
Let's hear it.
First of all, I noticed you have a sign here, do Black Lives Really Matter? And I'm wondering if any of you guys are actually willing to take the position that they don't. We can all just agree with that, right?
Well, I think Black lives do matter.
Yeah, of course.
But the question is more so for the other people, you know, because I heard all throughout 2020, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And then if I ask them about, do you support abortion? Now all of a sudden we live in the same universe where, yes, Black Lives Matter, but also have less Black lives.
Yeah, I think that's like a totally different discussion, and we can.
I don't think it is.
No, it is, and we can talk about abortion. We can talk about abortion if you want to, and I can debate any of these things. But
Okay.
I just want to make sure and make clear to everyone, like, really knows that the Democrats are not the real fascists, and Republicans are absolutely the fascists. They've torn our government apart. They brought in Elon Musk to dismantle a bunch of crucial government agencies. Trump has been a total authoritarian, in my view.
So your definition of fascism is deconstructing the government. More government is less fascist to you.
My definition of fascism is a government and society that is highly controlled by a select few amount of people. It's highly nationalist in nature, and in general, they try to silence or diminish opposing views of thought. Yeah.
It's really funny that you just used that term nationalist, because I was just watching a news story this morning about how the left-wing media was celebrating that they're saying that Canada is now turning on Donald Trump, and that they're coming out to vote against, America First policies in their own country. And they were describing how there's a sweeping wave of nationalism happening in Canada, and they were celebrating it because they were saying there's this sort of national Canadian pride against America and Donald Trump. And it's interesting to me that we appreciate every other nation's nationalism except for our own. We're not allowed to be nationalist in this country.
So I don't know about the particular news article you're referring to, but I think it's perfectly fine for people to be patriotic for their country, and I'm a proud American and I love this country, and that's why I absolutely hate what Donald Trump has been doing to it, and the Republican Party. Yeah.
So, but can we go back to your point about the example that you cited?
The problem is that the Canadian.
By the way, I think this microphone's louder.
The Canadian voter base might be coming out in support of this person and doing their policies, but they're doing that all on their own. The problem is when Donald Trump comes into the office, he's bringing in Elon Musk, who no one voted for, to just absolutely tear apart the government with no legal authority.
Nobody ever votes for cabinet members. You vote for administration. We all knew he would be part of an administration. I did vote for an administration that he would be part of. You also mentioned before that part of authoritarianism and fascism is silencing your opponents. So by your admission, was the Biden administration fascist because they literally colluded with private companies to censor Americans with opposing views?
Yeah, that might have happened, and maybe I'd have to.
So why are you not out here saying that Joe Biden is an authoritarian?
Because I don't think one example that you're citing immediately makes someone a fascist. I think Donald Trump
you said that silencing the opposition makes you an authoritarian.
No,
that is what Democrats have done every day. You just said that.
You are lying. You
just said it.
No.
Well, you've given the example of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is out next month, so after that is Donald Trump
so
no longer an authoritarian?
It was fine that he came in just because he's going.
Yeah, he's a special employee every
Donald Trump just made up a position that has he absolutely
the Department of Government Efficiency, yes, but every administration has had special employees that are temporary. It's like 120 days.
Maybe, but they all go through the legal process.
What is the legal process?
The legal process might be that, it depends on the specific position, but the president will try to appoint someone, and then the Senate will have to confirm that appointment. Basically.
Not with special employees. Not with these temporary employees. He's not part of the cabinet. He's not staying. He's gone after 120 days.
I don't know. The Trump administration likes to do a lot of extra legal, extrajudicial, and often illegal stuff.
Can I respectfully say something? So you're making claims and you have nothing to back it up. And Elon Musk is out next month. And that's what your entire argument about authoritarianism hinges on. And every administration has done this.
I don't think
I think if you're going to make these claims, you have to have something to back it up, is all I'm saying. He didn't go around anything to get Elon Musk in, and Elon Musk is out next month.
I'm saying, okay, so maybe, probably Elon Musk being in the government is not illegal in and of itself, but it completely disrespects the spirit of the Constitution and the spirit of the U.S. government.
But first of all, that's not true. But second of all, none of this was a surprise either. The American people had a choice. They went into the voting booth. They voted for Donald Trump, and part of his campaign was saying that he was going to go in and shrink the government and get rid of government waste. I mean, none of this is what we voted for. It literally was part of the democratic process, knowing people went in and voted for Donald Trump, knowing that he was going to go in and start slashing the federal government.
Maybe half the people in America voted for Donald Trump. The other half hate him.
The majority voted for him.
Yeah, the majority voted for him. I'll agree with that. But like, I don't know that they knew all the specific policies that like Donald Trump and Elon Musk were going to cut U.S. aid and then immediately cut off like huge amounts of U.S. international aid to countries that really need it. And the impact of that is that like a lot of people are dying. A lot of people are starving to death and not getting AIDS vaccines and stuff.
A lot of people are dying and starving to death in this country. I think there are people in this country who are homeless, who are veterans, who are starving, that really need money. It's sort of, you have to put your own oxygen mask on before the other person.
By putting on tariffs and making America a manufacturing economy instead of a like powerful tech economy?
You're also making a very emotional argument, like an emotional talking point that I don't think is substantiated and backed up. But we've gotten line items about the things that are being slashed, and they're usually things like, you know, transgender education in Africa or pride parades, you know, international pride parades.
I'm talking about real food and real medical supplies. I'm not talking about just that.
Where are the people who have died? Because, like, what are specific examples of people dying because of these slashes?
Can I look at my phone? I don't know like all these things off the top of my head. Like I don't have a huge list of information, but I could find sources for you, of course, if you give me the time.
I would appreciate that because I don't believe that talking point is true, and I also think that you would have to ask yourself. So you believe that Donald Trump just wants people to die? Like he was just like, I can't wait to run for president so that I can cause people to die.
I don't think he wants people to die. I think he doesn't care if people die as long as he gets what he wants.
But it's just so illogical. It's hard for me to even wrap my head around. It's illogical for me to believe that a man who had an amazing life, he was a billionaire, he has a beautiful wife, he has an amazing family, he literally could have just retired, golfed, and spent the rest of his life living luxuriously and enjoying his life, but he's like, no, I so want people to die all across the globe that I have to run for president so that I can slash aid and kill people.
So again,
it's just like, do you hear how irrational that is?
Yeah, I do hear how irrational that is. That isn't the point I made, which is why you used it as a straw man to present me as making
it's not a straw man.
An irrational argument.
Hang
I'm
on.
saying that Donald Trump doesn't care if people die.
But you also haven't been able to cite any people he's responsible for their deaths.
So again, I'll just look this up.
Go ahead and do that, and we'll save you a place in line. Hello.
Hi. As a college student, I hear that a like kind of right-leaning talking point is that college is like indoctrinating kids like among their courses and stuff like that. I initially like didn't believe that value, but then of course I started questioning when I took English 101 last semester that the professor like framed the entire course around oppression and said, I think on the beginning week of class, that he has the most power in the room because he's a cis white male. And then and since I'm a woman and I'm not white, I have like not really any privilege as much as him. So I just wanted to ask, like, what can college students or people do to like tackle that issue?
Thank you so much for sharing that example. Gentleman in the red shirt, did you hear what she just said? No. Okay, well, I wish you had been listening to her. She just cited an example where in her English course, her professor based the entire course around systemic oppression and told the classroom that he has the most power on campus as a cis, hetero, white male. And I'm sorry, what was the rest? And your question? And that you're disadvantaged, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so the question was?
What can college students or just like what can be done to like tackle that issue if like people like college students are getting like indoctrinated in class?
Right. So the question is, what can students do who are being indoctrinated in classrooms by liberal professors, far left professors, like the example that she just cited? And I think that you're in a really tough position because we hear from college kids all the time who go through exactly the same thing that you just described. And many of them have even expressed to us before that they've had to write essays or when they're doing their homework, they have to cater to the narrative that's being put forward by their professors, which they know is not true and is contradictory to their own personal values. But they know that their grades will suffer if they don't repeat the indoctrination talking points that are being pushed by far leftist professors. I think that's a real problem and a real challenge. I mean, all I could tell you to do is that more and more students need to start speaking up and challenging this. I look at you and I assume you're probably Asian.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're also more than Asian. Hispanic?
Filipino.
Filipino, okay. And I think maybe there are opportunities to raise your hand and say, well, look, I am not a white student, but I disagree with the theory that you're putting forward that by virtue of the fact that I'm not a white student, that I'm inherently oppressed or systematically oppressed. You're nodding your head as though perhaps you tried this already.
Well, somebody in my class did try, like, kind of combating the opinion of the professor, and he, like, got shut down, and the professor went on with, like, his
And there was
values.
retaliation.
Yeah.
Retaliation, right. So it's so interesting because it's like, the whole theory is supposed to be about the narrative of oppression. And then you've got a white liberal shutting down non-white students and telling them that they're wrong and telling them that their feelings are wrong and telling them that their lived experiences are wrong. Literally living out exactly the example of oppression that they're claiming is happening on the campuses, but they're not saying that they're the ones doing it. They're saying the other side is doing it. And like that's the hypocrisy of liberalism in action right there. They literally do the things that they're accusing other people of doing. Meanwhile, the other people they're accusing are rarely ever doing those things. And I'm sorry that I don't have a great response for you today because I think that you're in a really tough position because I think that you have to do what you have to do to be able to pass your courses and be treated fairly so that you can get the grades you need to get to be able to graduate and go out into the workforce. But I do think that if more students who felt the way that you feel were speaking out and sharing their lived experiences and saying, we don't appreciate being told that we are oppressed by white professors when we don't agree with this, I think that more and more people need to speak up and start pushing back against this. Did you have something to say?
No, I mean, you nailed it. Even if it has to wait till after you graduate, because I do believe we all have to do what we have to do, and I don't know your situation. And you know what? I graduated from the school in 2014. It wasn't like that, even just 10 years ago or 11 years ago. But if you share your story after graduation, like people need to hear stories like this from people like you, because it is happening, and it is very disempowering to be told that you have a scourge that you can never get rid of, never, and that you rely on white people to behave a certain way, to educate themselves, to do the work so that your life can be better, so that you can succeed. That's incredibly disempowering. I actually think it's anti-non-white people. I think it's anti-black and brown people because you are now outsourcing all of your agency to white people to be better people. So if you can't share the story now, and I appreciate you sharing it here, share it after graduation. Do what you need to do, get the grades, because this is important. People need to hear this, and I'm really sorry you're going through that.
And I'm really proud of you for speaking up today. Thank you so much. Did you have something to say?
I think this is a great example right here. A white liberal who claims to speak for diverse people shouting over a woman of color. This is what they mean when they say diversity. They say diversity, but what they mean is conformity. And if you disagree, we will shout you down.
We switched them already.
I think there is also something, I would imagine you think it's insulting for someone to imply that they have power over you specifically because of the way that you look. But what's interesting is that your college professor was trying to shut down any opposition to his worldview, which implies that people like you and me should hold a certain set of values and beliefs, which is inherently racist in itself, because if I were to ask someone, how should I as a black woman think, they can't answer, because either way, whatever comes out of their mouth is going to sound bad. So what you're doing right now, I applaud you for it. And I think how you combat that is by engaging in dialogue and not doing whatever the hell this is.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you speaking up. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just here really quickly because you guys asked for a source, so I'm just going to drop the source. But I got to go to class after, so I'm not willing to have a long discussion about it. But New York Times, the World Food Program estimates that the loss of U.S. funding in Afghanistan will end food assistance that about 2 million people rely on, including approximately 400,000 malnourished children and mothers. In Yemen, food aid for 2.4 million people would come to an end, while in Congo, all food assistance in the eastern part of the country would cease. So that's from the New York Times. I don't know if you're just going to call that fake news or whatever, but if it is fake news, then we just can't agree on reality. But
well, first of all, that's a projection, that's an estimation. Second of all, the conversation was whether Trump is authoritarian, and this has nothing to do with him being... authoritarian.
referring back to this specific point because I was asked to bring a
Right,
citation.
you were asked
so
to find a source. I understand that, but this still is not evidence that he is authoritarian, which is how this came up. And I think none of us at the table want for anyone to die, want for anyone to suffer, but we have real issues in America, and we have a limited number of tax dollars. We have a limited number of dollars. The government only has the dollars that we give them. So we have real issues in America, and I think we should all be united behind finding waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is what I think that Elon Musk is doing. He's going to be out next month. I really don't think it's an authoritarian crisis. That's where I land on that.
Yeah, I'm not against solving the real problems in the country. I'm against cutting programs that actually are essential and pretty important to a lot of people. And
I think it's very interesting also the particular countries you named. Afghanistan, bombed to death by the Bush and Obama administrations. Yemen, bombed to death by the Obama administration. I voted for somebody who would end these conflicts, not just Trump, but his cabinet, like we talked about, that he appointed Tulsi Gabbard, people like that. So when we talk about why these issues exist, you have to look at everything that has happened prior to the last few months of Trump taking office.
So America should be totally apart from foreign policy and let Russia and China take over the world?
Trump is... So you don't want somebody who's going to stand up to China, but then Trump puts tariffs on China, and you don't like that either. It sounds like no matter what he does, there's an issue.
No,
and yes, I voted for somebody who would be anti-war and get us out of the forever wars.
Yeah, I don't think the Ukraine war is a forever war.
So far, so good.
I don't think the Ukraine war is a forever war, and I think that's definitely something we should have.
How much money should we be giving them? I mean, at this point, Zelensky is like America's sugar baby. Where's all the money going?
We should give.
He's like a real housewife of Beverly Hills with her husband's credit card.
Democracy across the world.
Okay, that's fair. You guys brought up democracy, the democratic process. The Ukraine-Russia war is now wildly unpopular with the American people. This is actually what we voted for. It was popular. We wanted to be involved in February of 2022. It's down now every single poll. This is what we voted for. This is the democratic process. You might not like it. You can go in 2026 and in 2028. This is not a popular war with the American people.
To be clear, I don't like when you guys say that like we voted for this over and over again. You're misrepresenting America because about a little more than 50% of the population.
The people at the table. And
all right, so we can,
The polls indicate that it's upside down in terms of popularity. We were on board initially. We're now 3 years into this, and we're just not on board anymore. So you speak about the democratic process. This is the democratic process. I don't like war. I don't want anybody to take anybody's land. But we also have real issues here in America, and there's a reason why the majority of Americans, even more than voted for Donald Trump, more than 50%, do not support this war anymore.
We do have real issues in America, which is why I find it really hard to understand why Trump is taking such a backwards approach to the economy and making it very difficult for people who are in the lower classes of society to move forward. I think those are the real issues. I think people in abject poverty, abject homelessness, I think those are real issues. But I'm not seeing what Trump is doing to solve that. I think he's making it a lot worse, actually, with tariff policy.
Well, Trump is trying to get rid of our income tax, and we don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. Everybody likes to make all these projections, but we don't know whether they're used as a bargaining tool. We don't know whether they're long-term. We really don't know. And so you have to let it play out and see. You have no idea what's going to happen with these tariffs. His end goal is to, first of all, he's doing no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. None of that really affects me, but he is trying to get rid of income tax with these tariffs. So let it play out. Let's see what happened. My life was better under Donald Trump, and I didn't vote for him the first time, but it was better, and I was too stupid to see it. Then it got a whole hell of a lot worse under Joe Biden. I think that we should move on to the next woman who was very vocal and has been waiting. But I do think we should address this thing about diversity, equity, inclusion. I can't speak for everyone, but no one is against diversity. No one's against inclusion. The issue is equity. I'm for equality, not equity. I am for equal opportunity, not equal outcome. That is what is fair. Okay, that's what everyone at this table, I would imagine, is for. So let's not paint it in a negative light when really we are for diversity, we're for inclusion, we're for equality, but not equity.
Okay, I'm going to go to class.
Thank you.
I'm short. Okay. Ooh, that's loud. Okay.
It's loud.
Yeah, because I'm loud. So,
Exactly.
I feel like the biggest waste of the U.S. is giving the rich a tax break. Because there are so many people suffering in this country. Why are we removing WIC? Why are we removing food from babies, from children here in the U.S.? I'm not talking about outside of the U.S. I'm talking within our borders, within our lines, from ocean to ocean. We're literally cutting funding for that. Why are we cutting funding for NIH? We're literally cutting funding, research funding for cancer. We're literally cutting science, education. But yet the rich don't get taxed. Instead, their taxes are decreased while ours is increased. And by the way, during Trump's first administration, you were under the Biden tax plan. So if you had more money, just know it was thanks to Biden.
Everything was cheaper under Donald Trump.
Thanks to Biden.
If you're concerned about the people in our own country who are suffering, and if you're concerned about a lack of resources for those people, aren't you glad we closed our borders and we're doing mass deportations now? Isn't that amazing? Because why are we the Biden administration let in at minimum 12 million illegal migrants, many of whom were taking resources from our government programs away from American citizens. You want to talk about penalizing people for being successful in this country and making it the responsibility of the wealthiest and most successful people to pay for these programs. Why don't we try just getting rid of all the people who are non-citizens of this country who are taking money from these programs? Well, you should be supporting that. I have to imagine you must be thrilled that we're closing our borders and doing mass deportations.
Okay. I will let you know. I am a Mexican American, first gen. And I will let you know that these illegals that you're so afraid of cannot even get these government programs that you're talking of. They get ITNs to pay taxes. Every little purchase you make, what do you see there? Taxes. We all pay taxes. It's not about legality. It's not about that. However, do not cut me off. However, we need to make sure that we're informed that these people do pay taxes. And these people deserve to be here because the U.S. was made by a dream that we all could make it big because we did not want a king. We did not want a tyrant. We wanted to be a democracy, a republic, whatever you want to call it. But the U.S. was made to be diverse. It was made so that we all feel welcome and we all belong here. It's not about one race. It's not about one problem. There's multiple problems that need to be faced inside and out. Because no matter what, and the one thing you cannot deny me, is that we're all going to die and that we all need to make sure we all have a great time while here. And that is why I don't spread hate. I don't spread hate, I educate. And that's why you need to know that these illegals that you're so afraid of and why you want to close these borders for.
You don't want me to cut you off, but you're repeating yourself now. So can I speak?
Oh, you repeat yourself too, girl.
I'm glad
I'm
glad that you're so passionate. I'm glad that your parents came here legally, it seems. First of all, you said a few things. Donald Trump is not cutting WIC.
By the way, since you wanted to cut me off, my parents came here illegally and got naturalization. And you know what? You know how they got their papers? By working here with an ITN that they paid taxes
I'm very glad that
while they were illegal.
And then
they became legal.
I'm very glad that happened to you. The issue is that we have millions of unvetted people here. It's not just, first of all, they are taking welfare programs. It's not just about whether they all pay taxes. We do not know who is in the country. And I want you to go up and have this passion to Rachel Morin's mother. Okay, I want you to go up and have this passion to Laken Riley's mother. We need to know who's in this country. It's not about your family and it's not even about whether people are paying taxes. It's not all just about money. Okay? It's about who is in the country. Money. Well, yeah, you brought up money. Donald Trump is not cutting WIC, and the cut of research funding is due to schools like Harvard, who are running amok with American taxpayer dollars on top of a $50 billion endowment. Okay?
What about the cut for the rich?
Issues.
Okay, so first of all, Donald Trump has already declared that it is his intention to delete income taxes, remove income taxes for anybody making less than $150,000. That's a lot of people in this country. By the way, $150,000 is still a lot of money for an annual income. So that's a lot of low-income people that be paying no tax whatsoever. Number two, we already know that the wealthiest people in this country are paying more in taxes than anybody else.
Because they make more money than us. They have more savings, so of course they have to pay more taxes.
How much is too much? Can I ask you that? Is 90% too much?
No. What I'm saying...
It's not.
No. Look, let me speak. I will gladly give you the floor just like how you give me the floor. It is reciprocal. So what I say is, when someone obviously makes $1 million a year compared to someone that makes $56,000 a year, someone that obviously is taxed 4% of $1 million, of course that's a lot more than what it would be for someone that makes $56,000 a year. And what you're not absorbing is the fact that there are people that don't have savings at all, point blank, period. And the thing is that these millionaires do not get to experience how it's like to then use these government programs. Because the main issue is we wouldn't need these government programs had we actually been given livable wages, had we been given free health care. But the thing is, there are so many issues in this country, and we're all divided because of the fact that there are some people that think they deserve more rights than others, in the sense of you're not willing to admit the problems of where this country has failed some people and where it has privileged others.
Okay, so first of all, you're mentioning tax cuts. Donald Trump did not cut taxes for the rich. It was an across-the-board tax cut, the largest middle-class tax cut in U.S. history. Now, this isn't just about individuals. A nation that is not self-sufficient cannot stand. And under Democrat taxation policy, it has become impossible to do business in this country. I had to move from New York to Florida, and I pay no income tax now. It's wonderful. And I'm not a millionaire or billionaire. Even in Los Angeles, it is no longer financially viable to make movies in Hollywood anymore. Marvel and all those studios are having to move to Georgia, to Texas, under red state taxation policy.
How about tariffs? Tariffs, since they have increased, especially for China, you're saying that we can't work within ourselves because, well, the U.S. doesn't really have anything. That's why we use other countries, because not everything can be made in the USA. And so, us raising stuff for where when we get so much stuff from China, literally you're ruining small businesses. I'm not talking about the big corporations. Those people can take it down for all they care. But the thing is, for small businesses, for a growing economy, you need things to not be out of your reach monetarily. And the thing is, with these tariffs, these small businesses are now they're now being charged so much money for these items that didn't cost that much, and now they can't continue their small businesses.
We've already covered this with the tariffs before. First of all, the tariffs are not going to put people out of business within 2 weeks. And literally, the media started running out and trying to find these stories about people who are like, oh, I have to close my doors because of the tariffs. There's no way that could happen. If you have to close your doors, you were already going out of business. Like, that doesn't happen in 2 weeks. We don't know yet the results that the tariffs are going to have on our economy. And I do believe that there is a great reason to be very excited and optimistic about the change that this could make to our economy. But there is something I actually wanted to talk to you because I didn't get to finish my point before. Can we go back?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So you kept talking about how America is supposed to be for everyone. America is supposed to be diverse. America is supposed to be, anyone should be allowed to come here, right?
Yeah.
That's how you feel? So if we don't need to have a vetting process and anyone's allowed to come here, and it doesn't matter whether you're a legal immigrant or a illegal migrant. Thank you.
Look at security. They paid you to run.
Black privilege.
Yeah, that's black privilege.
Right. So if anyone's allowed to come into our country and we're not allowed to have an immigration system, what is America? If USA is for everybody, what is the USA if we don't have borders? What is it?
A free country. That's what it's called.
How is it a country? How is it
defined? The thing is...
No, can I get an answer to that, please?
What?
How is it a country? We don't have borders.
We still have a government. There's literally other
What
countries.
are we governing? What are our borders? What are the borders of this country?
Literally building a wall doesn't mean that we don't have lines. There's maps. If you need to see where the borders are at, look at a map.
But who are they governing?
Americans.
Who are Americans?
Us. You and I.
Everybody, right?
Exactly. But the thing is...
Everybody's an American.
We're literally we're a melting pot. So yes, of course we're going to look different. Of course we're going to look so much more different. We are literally the epitome of a melting pot.
It's not about us looking different.
Yeah, it's not about us looking different, but if we don't have borders, how are we a country?
Wait, sorry, what?
Please don't approach our table.
We're not coming for you. We want the signs.
No, get away from the table.
This is crazy.
Get away from the table.
511. This is crazy. Touching their property. It's a fucking sign, guys.
And this is an example of the privilege that we're talking about, too, by the way.
I didn't hear you.
Imagine if a white student did that to a group of black students. Imagine. But to you guys, it's totally normal. So you're allowed to do it. Oh, it's not? It's not? Yeah, what is it exactly? You feel completely entitled to come and steal our property, rush up on us. Imagine if white students did that to black students. Imagine. All right, let's move on to the next question, please.
You guys are so hurt by words, and it's so scary for you. I'm sorry that it's so scary for you to have a conversation and a different opinion. You were warned. We're exercising free speech out here today. We're having a conversation. You should be able to handle words and a sign, honey. You need to go back to class because you're not doing very good.
Scan the QR code.
Really quickly, because we got a line behind you. You mentioned something about how in America there are no borders, all right, and that everyone who comes into this country should be American. I want to ask, if a random stranger, random homeless person walks into your house, are they now your family members?
Okay.
Yes
the
or no?
relevancy,
Yes or no?
The relevancy
Yes or
does
no?
not count
Yes
in
or no?
this. You're literally using a question that doesn't
okay,
have
all right.
any
Well, that was my
relevance to
question
it.
because here's the reality. Every single person in here who advocates for open borders is hypocritical because I'm sure when you go to bed at night, you lock the door.
Open borders compared to an open home is completely different.
Just be intellectually
Because-
consistent. Thank you.
How about you be
Country
intellectually
is our
consistent?
home.
The thing
Open
is,
borders start at home. If you want open borders, announce to the neighborhood, anyone who wants to come into your apartment can come in, leave the door wide open. You're not allowed to
That's
ask
not-
questions. You're not allowed to check who they are first. That would not be empathetic after all. Would you do that?
literally the Constitution
No, of course
doesn't
not.
allow anyone
So
to come
why
into our
is
homes.
that the standard
We're talking
you want
about
for
our
your fellow
physical home.
Americans?
We're not talking about the borders. The border is completely different compared
It's
to your
not-
literal home. That's your land in terms of you owning your home.
This is our home. And
You're
here-
not
and here's-
welcome here. You're
here's
not
the-
welcome at CSU.
here-
So this is not your home.
America.
This is not your home. So this is
America.
what I mean
Okay, I hear you. I
by
hear you.
there is you guys are literally trying to cause a correlation when there is no causation.
There is a
in this.
correlation, but I think that you're
you're
just
not- but the
unwilling
thing
to
is-
concede to it.
You're unwilling to concede to my view as well, where there's a difference between a physical home where you
Okay, I
reside in
get you.
and where you relax in. Because obviously here,
I see no difference. But my
here,
my family members are full of immigrants. Okay, we all came to this country legally. We went through the process. We are not against immigration. We are against illegal immigration because here's the reality. When you don't have borders, you are welcoming different worldviews to come into this country that are incompatible with the U.S. Constitution. So if you value your freedom, you would want to know what those worldviews are. And we're taking a lot of people in here. We're not vetting them. We don't know what their beliefs are. So if you're saying, oh, we still have a government, what happens when that government gets taken over with these worldviews that I'm talking about and you lose your so-called rights? Would you be okay with that?
Next person.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, as opposed to the Biden administration that was so diverse.
Talk to me. I just had a few questions, like genuinely. Can we go back to the DEI and the fire department? Just sure. What? So, you didn't say black firefighters were the reason why the LA fire department has gone worse. We'll say that, right? What do you mean? Are you saying? But you are saying the hiring process for black workers there is lenient, or what is the issue with the
that multiple counties and fire departments have changed their standards, similar to college admissions, where you get extra points if you're black and you lose points if you're white. Okay. What does the color of someone's skin affect their ability to fight fires?
So do you think the black firefighters that are currently in the force or currently getting hired are less qualified than the white firefighters, or you think they just vet those processes that are easier to go through?
I think the thing that's very unfair to them is at the moment we don't know, and they shouldn't be looked at in that way. Because if this were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would be able to say, of course they were. You don't know now.
Do you think right now it's too black?
No, I don't think it's too black. I think the standards are wrong. I want the best people. If that's 100% black people, great. But I don't think that somebody should be given points, whether it's in a hiring process, in an academic process, because they're of the color of their skin. And it's quite derogatory to do that, to think that black people can't possibly compete on their own in a meritocracy.
Okay, do you think in the academic setting, colleges only look at, like, race? Do you think that's what's going on?
I don't know or believe that that's the only thing they're looking at, but we know for a fact, based off of things that have been brought to light over the last 5 years, that some of the biggest universities in the country, like Harvard, Yale, they literally changed their acceptance standards according to different races. And by the way, Asian people are traditionally earning more in our country. They're achieving more scholastically. They earn more money than other people. But it was Asian students who were having the hardest time being able to get into some of these schools.
I actually want to talk about those specific cases. Do you know the specific case for, it was, I believe, Wang versus Harvard, right?
I'm not sure of the
You don't know the
legal
specific
case.
actual cases.
The legal case,
by,
no, but I am aware of the
Bloom,
I am aware of the fact that the standards were publicized, and that the standards showed that they had raised the standards for Asian kids and white kids and lowered the standards for black kids.
Did you read the full court cases?
I'm not sure which court case you're referring to.
Let's talk about the Ed Bloom cases, where he used Asian plaintiffs to basically go against affirmative action, like Harvard, in those schools. But did you look at the specific students they used?
I didn't know.
Well, historically,
because the examples I'm citing aren't about specific students; they were about the standards
you were
themselves.
talking about those schools, though, were you not?
I was talking about the standards. I wasn't talking about specific individuals.
You were talking about specific schools, though, weren't you?
I was.
Which schools?
Harvard, Yale.
Okay, so can I talk about cases for those schools?
Sure.
Okay, those specific cases, Ed Bloom historically has never used Asian plaintiffs. Do you think he cares about, like, Asian students in DEI?
I don't think you can read someone's mind and say what they care about. The point is whether these students are being impacted by it or not, and they have been.
You can't say that he cares or
I
not.
don't give a shit what he cares about. I care about the students that are being impacted by it.
Do you think the motivation for political action isn't important? Do you not think that's important? You don't think that's important?
I think the outcome is important. Good vibes and positive intentions mean nothing when we can see the ramifications of the things that we are promoting.
I don't know if that's the correct way.
What is the phrase?
You don't think motivation
The road to hell
matters?
is paved with good intentions. I don't care what someone's motivation is.
It's paved with good intentions. Would good intentions not be a motivation?
Good intentions? I can't feed my family with good intentions.
Okay, well, all right, I'll give you that then. Let's talk about those cases then. It doesn't matter if he cared about it or not. He historically only used white plaintiffs until he needed to use Asian plaintiffs to make a case that minorities do not agree with DEI.
Or was it just more Asians are being impacted by it now?
Well, actually, when you look at the cases, these Asian students had either already been accepted to other prestigious schools, they had been overlooked by other, let's say, minority students. However, the grade point average was not within a 0.05 percentile, meaning it wasn't like a huge marginal error, like, let's say, like a 4.5 versus a 3.8. It wasn't a huge error like that. It was very minimal. Let's say like 0.02 of a GPA. Same thing with SAT scores. It was like within 30 points. Do you think these students are really like fighting for DEI, and do you think they deserve those fights? Because the students arguing for these cases either got accepted into another school or they already went through school. One of the cases, a student had already been to Berkeley. Do you think Ed Bloom was really using Asian plaintiffs for DEI?
So again, you're making an argument
students?
based off of a specific case, which I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with. I'm not
Specific
making
cases. Sorry, it was a whole thing.
But I'm not making an argument based off of your cases. I'm making an argument based off of the revelation of what the standards were, and these were well reported on.
And how did the standards affect them?
The standards affected them that they were intentionally prioritizing admissions.
How did this affect students?
Was I answering or not?
No, what was the full effect?
Okay. again, I was in the middle of answering your question. They were prioritizing the admission of black students who had lower scores and lower grades, and not allowing in students who were Asian and white who had higher grades, and they had made the standards higher for Asian and white students than they made them for black students.
Why is the student body still then mostly white and Asian? And also, like I was saying, did you look at the full extent to what they were looking at? Because colleges don't do that. They look at a holistic
Is
process.
that in itself, is that not enough for you to not be okay with that?
Because
do we believe
what I was saying
Are we against
earlier-
racism or not?
Of course I'm against racism.
If you're
What I
against
am saying
racism,
here-
then why are you not against that there's different standards for Asian kids than there are for black
The
kids?
standards
Why
you
that
are
life is
talking about,
harder?
I already explained. These margin of errors between GPAs, SAT scores are not negligible enough to be a huge difference. Colleges look at a holistic program.
But you're
They
not
do
right about that.
They do.
You're not right about
yes,
that.
I am.
You're
they
not.
Do not
You're
look,
not.
They do not. Colleges have never looked at just GPAs and SAT scores. They've always looked at academic involvement, whether or not this student was good with other students, had a good track record, things like that. They don't just look at GPA scores.
Right.
And the scores you are talking about, especially the leniency, what I am saying is these margin
But it was
of
more than
errors-
just scores. It was also Asian
okay,
and
so
white.
it wasn't just scores, because you were just saying
No,
it was
it's
scores.
not just scores.
Exactly, it is more than just scores.
Right,
Colleges
but what I'm
always look at
saying
more than just scores.
Right, but what I'm saying is that in the examples that were reported on from these schools, they were saying that many of these students were in a number of different programs. They had extracurricular activities. The white and Asian students, none of this was being taken into account. They were being overlooked for students who weren't in programs, weren't in extracurricular activities, and didn't have the grades that they had.
It is very much taken into account. If it wasn't taken into account, there still wouldn't be
All
a
right,
mainly white
so
Asian
is it,
student board.
Is it safe then to say that you just don't believe this is happening? You believe
It's not
that
I
they're
don't
not
believe
looking
this
at
is
any of these
happening.
things?
I think DEI is a thing. I think it is obviously a thing.
What does it mean then? Tell me what it means.
It is about offering opportunities, all right, for these students who have historically had issues with educational attainment, socioeconomic success, but they still harbor good grades, good academic involvement, and other students who don't have to
the best grades?
good grades.
The best?
You can get the best grades out of any students, all right? If when you go to Harvard, all those student scores are going to be high earning top A grades.
Yeah.
The students who were accepted, it's not like they were like C or B students.
Sure.
They were still A students.
You know, the NBA, where people are making millions and millions of dollars, is predominantly black. Do you think that's fair?
That is such a different argument.
Why? There's not nearly as many Asian people in the NBA. There's not a lot of short people. I don't think. Do you think that's fair?
So then it's a short person thing. It's not really a
Well,
black
do you think that's fair, or do you think that there should be a certain amount of spots allotted to short people to be in the NBA?
There are short people who play in the NBA because they have the skill to do so.
But are there enough? They have the skill to do so. 100% right. And there's also a lot of
some
black
gotcha
students.
moment for you.
And there's still a lot of black people in Ivy League schools because they had the skill to do so, and in any other profession because they had the skill to do so.
Exactly, they had the
Not
skill to
because
do so.
somebody came in and said 25% need to check this box,
What is the skill
whether
to
they're
do so? What
qualified
is the skill
to do it
so
or not.
academically? What is this? Right,
grades,
right.
the extracurricular
grades,
activities.
extracurriculars,
Yeah,
right? So
right.
they did that, right?
They didn't do that. That's what I said.
So you're saying these black students didn't have good grades, they didn't do extracurriculars, they didn't do any of that? You
Their
can say
grades-
that for an exact fact.
Their grades were not up to the standards
They were up to
that
the
the
standards.
other kids were expected to
They
achieve.
were up to the standards. They were still at least a 4.0.
The problem with DEI is that it creates an environment where meritocracy becomes secondary or tertiary, and that it's all about exterior factors that have nothing to do with merit. That is the problem.
Can you
and that is what's happening.
So you don't think like extracurriculars or anything like that is merit?
I'm saying that there were black students and are black
who
students.
don't deserve to be in those schools.
Correct.
You think why don't they deserve it?
Because they don't have the aptitude,
do you know
the
what
grades.
the exact aptitude scores were? Like, what were the exact qualifications? Do you know the exact ones?
It's not productive if you're not going to
It's
listen.
not productive if you don't know the
Okay.
exact ones.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on. You're not
Bro,
listening.
dude, you're wrong.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ask for sources that you don't give any.
Well, you keep interrupting me.
stupid,
Okay, thank you.
Hello to the desk. I'll try to keep this short and simple since I know I got a line of people behind me.
Welcome.
But, oh, sorry. I've got two things I want to ask. First thing is kind of adding on to what I've heard people earlier about DEI. What are the opinions of DEI? Because I guess my opinion on DEI is hence the name, diversity, equity and inclusion. I believe that everybody deserves equal opportunities and equal rights, and regardless if they're legal or not. And I know that people here at CSUF, we are a very diverse campus, and we try to make each other feel welcome here. So I don't see why we should get rid of that.
Do you feel like people are going above and beyond to make us feel welcome today?
I mean, they're kind of backing the past speakers right here. Yeah, it's right here. Free speech. But anyways, adding on to, I do want to talk about travel visas, because I know that ICE has been going around with revoking people's visas, but why though? Especially not just with college, but also like the guy was mentioning with the NBA. We need those to travel internationally, but also not to mention that the U.S. and Mexico and Canada are also going to be hosting 3 major tournaments this year: the Club World Cup this summer, the FIFA World Cup in 2026, and the 2028 LA Olympics. So why should we have a people of in an oligarchy like the rich be able to run this place? Because it's called World Cup for a reason. We're supposed to be able to embrace each other's diversity, embrace each other's cultures, because it's uniting each other through the game. And also, there's also many ways that we could able to unite. We shouldn't consider people that are illegals or undocumented outsiders. But and one final thing, and this is kind of towards my personal opinion. RFK and autism, because I'm not a straight A student, but then again, yeah, why do we have to help you guys?
Yeah, you're right. It's a diverse campus. Diversity belongs here.
Thanks, guys.
He was making another point, though. You're saying RFK and autism.
Yeah, RFK and autism. Like, why would he want to get rid of that? Like, what's your guys' I want to ask you one question. Like, what's your guys' opinion on like neurodiversity and also just like any diversion in general?
Well, you said why would RFK want to get rid of autism? I think we should all want to find a cure for autism.
Why would he want to find a cure? But
why would he want to find a cure for autism? We should all want that, except for the pharmaceutical companies and the drug companies that's very profitable for.
But here's the thing, though. Us people, neurodiverse people, are. I wouldn't consider myself any less, because us neurodivergents,
nobody does.
Not just ASD, are just as smart as regular people.
Of course. Nobody said otherwise. This is the issue with Big Pharma having such a disproportionate impact over politics. Autism should have never been relabeled the spectrum. But as we know, there is a spectrum. There's high functioning and there's low functioning. RFK was talking about people on the low functioning end of that and finding a cure for them and really getting to the bottom of what is causing this and why autism has exploded over the last decade or two.
But this affects the whole spectrum, not just the severe end of the spectrum.
I don't see what you're taking issue with.
The severe end of the spectrum is because he said it himself. Kids like us will never get jobs. We'll never pay tax.
Low functioning.
I work with kids with autism as a job, and I'm sure that I understand that.
You're out of your mind, buddy.
I understand that this is very close to your heart as well. RFK was talking about the 25% of people with autism, and it is real, who are not able to function. And those people and those families suffer in a way that most of us would not understand. A few of the kids that I work with are under conservatorship. They will never be in charge of their own lives. Their parents are in charge of all of their decisions. So no one believes that people with autism are less. No one wants to eradicate those people. But when we're talking about serious disabilities, people who are not able to live their lives and not able to have a control of their own affairs, which is what he was talking about, that's 25% of people with autism. I think that we should all want to find, if it is something that we're doing or something in our environment, we should want to find that, because people are suffering, and we've touched on people suffering in these conversations. None of us want people to suffer. Okay, if you knew people who have the very severe form of autism, I think that you would understand. But I don't think a lot of you know that, okay? Because these are families that are really suffering.
But I don't really see them as a burden. I more see them that the family should be able to give them they're just loving them as much as they are as with kids who don't have disabilities.
Of course, but we should find a cure and we should figure out what is causing it. I just want to say one thing. I just want to say one thing. We've just been given a visual aid today in how leftist manipulation works. We were talking about the spectrum. You had said, why do you think that I said, nobody thinks that about you. We're talking about the low-functioning end of what's called the spectrum. And this lovely gentleman who looks like Little Richard with a guitar comes over and goes, oh, did you just call him low-functioning? Stop hate! Which nobody ever said. So thank you for providing us a visual aid today in how leftist manipulation and lies work.
Why don't you let me talk then? Why don't you say what I want?
Because there's a line.
Sure. All right, let me just finish this up real quick. So, anyways,
sir, we'd like to move on.
Well, I do want to say one final thing.
Okay.
Let me finish. Is that like back to the whole thing about the travel, the borders? Like, why would we want to close off those borders and not let people come in? Because for me personally, I'm not a person who doesn't want to cause any hate. I don't want to cause anything, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm just going to say it out here right now. I am a American born, but of Mexican heritage, and I'm proud of both being half Mexican and Hispanic, and also being full autistic, high function autistic, and I wouldn't want to trade that for anything. And
can I answer your question?
Go ahead.
About the border. First of all, there's no connection whatsoever between your ethnic heritage and what we're saying. Nobody here thinks that we shouldn't have immigration in this country. Every one of us is from a family of immigrants. Even though some of us have white skin, we also come from families of immigrants. I'm going to answer your question now. Why do we need borders? In the last 4 years under the Biden administration, just 4 years alone, at least 12 million people entered our country illegally. Gang violence, huge on the rise. We have now MS-13 gang members in our country who are raping women, killing women. Every woman in this country is significantly less safe today than they were 5 years ago. We have... how is that because of Trump? Joe Biden was the president. And that is just one example. Not to mention, there are entire communities now where... everybody in these communities is less safe, economically speaking, less prosperous. It is not good to have people coming into our country unvetted, to not know how many people are in our country.
But you don't know their side of their story. They could, because they're coming here.
Then they need to come to our borders and apply to enter legally or seek asylum if they are in an actual dangerous situation.
They're just here to make a better
life. The United
life.
States of America takes more asylum seekers than any other country in the world.
It's called the United States of America, not the divided States of America.
It's not going to be called anything if we don't have borders. If we don't have borders, we're not a country. Do you understand?
Well, I mean, like one guy said earlier, we have maps so you can see the borders, so we know the borders of thing. We don't need to block that with any walls.
Sir, if we don't have an immigration system and we don't enforce our borders, we don't have a country. There's no country to. If you think America's so great and everyone should be allowed to come here, there is no America if we don't have borders. We're literally just Grand Central Station in the middle of the globe that anyone can come in and come out whenever they feel like it.
That's what Donald Trump do with all these mass deportations, but people have families. They have.
No, Donald Trump is making it so that the people who are legal citizens of this country are the people who live here, and that we're governing the legal citizens of this country.
No, because again, I don't want to cause too much hate here, because I'm all about just spreading kindness, and I truly believe that everybody here, not just here at CSUF, but all across the United States of America, should feel welcome here, because
I get it.
We are a free country.
And I understand that you feel that way. But I'm sorry to say this because you seem like a very nice person, sincerely. But the policies that you support are not kind, and they're not compassionate at all. So you can say all you want that you're a nice person and that you don't want hate, but the policies you're supporting are putting women in danger, are putting the American citizens in danger, and are leading to the downfall of our country. So you can, and by the way, the people who are most disproportionately affected by the crime from the people who are coming into our country illegally, besides women, are black people and Hispanic people. So if you don't want hate, I just want you to know that the policies that you support are harming black and brown people and women. Thank you.
Thank you. But
We do need to move on, sir. We've got a line behind you. I'm sorry. We've answered a lot of questions for you.
Yeah, I know. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
and
We appreciate your
just-
time, too. Thank
just
you.
so you know, you guys, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Okay.
Under Democrat policies, always.
Damn, this is high. Hold up. I'm a shorty. My fault.
Hello.
Oh, hi, guys. I hope you have a wonderful
Welcome.
day. Oh, no worries, man. I was actually going to talk, but I want to give my spot to this guy instead. He seems a lot more passionate than I give with.
Hello, my friends. Oh, yeah, I do like to sing. I'm a musician. So, all right, so tell me, stop transing kids. What do you mean?
What we mean is that we are against giving permanent life-altering medications and medical treatments to people who are minors. Particularly, it's so bad that there are numerous examples of 12-year-old girls being given double mastectomies. There are kids who are 11, 12, 13 years old who are being put on puberty blockers because they are being affirmed as being trans, or what we're now calling trans, and that these medical decisions cannot be reversed. These people are turning into lifelong patients, and they're permanently altering and destroying their bodies. And many of them, sir, if you're not going to listen, then you need to leave the line.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm just warming up.
Well, you're not warming up because you're not going to stand in line and play music. We're trying to have a respectful conversation.
You just asked if I was going to play music. I said, yeah, I'm going to play music. Yeah, I am. I have a response.
Okay, then we're going to ask you to stop playing music.
I'll give the response. Well, let me tell you about what I think about transing kids. There's a statistic that you can't take
A jaunty tune about giving double mastectomies to 12-year-olds. The side of love and compassion and kindness, everyone.
Denied treatment for any sort of gender-affirming care. And that 2-year-old jumped out.
It is so kind to sterilize children.
It's not
Sir, we're not allowed to be
sterilizing.
this close to us.
It's not sterilizing anything.
It's a security issue. You've got to go.
Why, you scared? Hello.
No, he's just a little off.
First of all, I'd say I'm pretty moderate, and I think that everything you guys have said is pretty reasonable.
Thank you.
And I think this campus is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
It is.
what I was gonna ask about. Oh, sorry. What I was gonna ask about is, I agree with you guys on Ukraine, but I was curious your opinions on Israel, because I personally do not support what they're doing in Gaza, even though I agree with most of what you're saying, and I'm just curious what you guys think about that.
Personally, I'm more on the pro-Israel side, but from a distance. I don't want us militarily involved. I don't want us giving them a whole lot of money. I do think radical Islam is a big threat, which it's important to have an ally in the region, but I don't want us getting too involved. Israel can handle themselves, quite frankly. I wish we had our shit together as much as Israel does, so I don't think we need to be getting involved. But a lot of these people, you have things like absurd slogans like Queers for Palestine, a place that would behead these people who think that radical fundamentalist Islam is their friend, are sadly mistaken.
That makes sense. I guess I don't know, just looking at like old videos and just seeing like Netanyahu trying to get us into Iraq and the 7 wars in 5 years or whatever, and I just think like we're getting dangerously close to a war in Iran, and I don't want to see any of my friends like die going over there. And I think that our alliance with them has historically been portrayed as beneficial, but I think honestly it's just hurt us in the long run.
I think that's an interesting point of view, and it's definitely something that I think I've seen a certain amount of hypocrisy from the right. Remember, I've only been on the right for about 7 years or something like that. But I know that historically Republicans have always been extremely defensive of Israel, citing that they're our ally in the region, but it does seem a bit hypocritical because these are usually the same people saying that we don't need to get involved in other people's wars and that we should be trying to stay out of global conflict. And so I think your perspective is interesting.
Okay, that's all I really had to say, but thank you.
No, thank you. We appreciate it. What a difference between the conservative kids and the other kids.
I just had a response to one of the questions I heard earlier that I think... are you able to hear me at all?
If you could get as close to the mic as possible and project your voice, that'd be great.
You got it. So I think one of the questions I heard earlier, and I forget who asked it, if you could remind me, was, what are we without a nation of borders? Who was it who asked that?
Well, I was asking the question, if we don't have borders, how are we a country?
I think to what I was taught growing up and what really resonated with me even to this day starts from the preamble. That we are a country of ideas, unified primarily under our shared agreement of liberty, mutual respect, and respect towards disagreement. I have friends unified on all spectrums of the conservative to liberal lines, if they want to be Christian fundamentalists or trans friends, and everyone in between, but they're unified by one common denominator, an idea of liberty. That's what our founding fathers fought for. And I mean, my ninth great grandfather, he fought at the Battle of Lexington. He responded to the midnight call. And he didn't fight for the border of the 13 colonies. He fought for the idea that unified them. That anyone can be an American if they agree with liberty. If they agree that we are a country who works hard to preserve that liberty. And I mean, to the people coming in, you answered one question. We don't know who's here. But why not make it easier to find out who's here and make it easier for them to continue the work they want to do? I have friends who went through the legal process, spending tens of thousands of dollars, years in the taking. Why not make the process easier? We have the tools to do it. If we unify, we can do it. This can solve a lot of the problems while allowing people that chance to pursue the liberty that my forefathers got. The one to work hard, the one to live under that banner of liberty. And to address some of the things that I'm seeing from both sides, yelling at each other and you yelling back at the protesters is not going to help anyone. If you want to sit down with them and talk and approach it from a mutual understanding of liberty, they feel threatened in the same way that you do. If you keep yelling, you're only going to compound the issue.
I hear what you're saying. I'm happy to have a conversation. I have not yelled at anyone other than a person who tried to steal our signs because she found she's so fragile that she literally just can't walk by the signs. And I'm sorry, I'm probably much older than her. Life is only going to get worse, okay? Because you're not going to be on campus and you're not going to be able to just steal words, silence words that you disagree with. So I understand your criticism, but to be fair, I have not yelled at anyone other than a person who tried to steal the signs because she was so fragile that she couldn't even look at them. To your point about liberty, it is very nice to espouse on liberty. Everyone here at the table loves liberty. But I want to offer you something that John Adams, one of our founders, said, which is that our Constitution is made only for a moral and religious people, and it is wholly unsuitable to the government of any other. And the idea behind that is that if we don't have shared values, if we're not actually a melting pot and people actually don't assimilate, we can't have freedom for very long because people are going to come in and take your freedom. So I understand your concerns. We fight for liberty, okay? But we do have to have shared values. And when we just allow anyone and everyone to come in and they come and they take their culture and everything else, we won't have liberty for very long. Okay, so it's just something to think about because I wasn't aware of that quote when I was your age. And now I've spent a lot of time thinking about it and it makes sense.
To address that, I think again to the preamble, in order to form a more perfect union, we were not perfect at the onset. That's why our Constitution is a living document. And we've altered it to include more people than those who share our beliefs. The 14th Amendment gives due process to all and expands it, even beyond the states. Now, I would ask you one question. If due process begins to be denied just because somebody isn't in agreement with you or doesn't share common moral or cultural standings like what we've seen in recent times, is that not a threat to liberty to all?
That's not what's happening here. What Joe Biden let in, as some estimate, 20 million, at least 12 million. If we were to give a trial to every single one of those individuals, they might as well just stay here, okay? So no one's due process has been violated. It is different when you are illegal. You are not entitled to a trial and a jury of your peers because your peers don't exist here, okay? So we have certain statutes like the Alien Enemies Act to deal with people in an expedited fashion in mass, and that's why those statutes exist. Nobody's due process has been violated in this.
Define who's legal and who's illegal then?
That is a valid question. If you're not given due process, you lose the opportunity to defend your citizenship in court. And to address another one of your points, I'm sorry, actually, I did forget.
Well, no, to your point, if these people have proof that they are legal, they are allowed to offer. No one, they're not immediately put on, right. So exactly, but they're not entitled to a trial. So no one's due process has been violated. We have laws, like I said, like the Alien Enemies Act, which allow us to deal with a large number of people in an expedited fashion. If we were to give every 12 to 20 million of these people a trial, none of this would all be for naught. They would just be staying here, which I know is what a lot of these people want. They want a bunch of millions of unvetted people. But we elected Donald Trump on immigration. We knew he was going to be tough on immigration. Frankly, the American people are on our side. They do want deportation, certainly of the most violent of the violent. No one's due process has been violated. If you are here illegally, you are not entitled to a judge and a jury and your day in court. But if you do have proof that you are here legally, you are more than welcome to offer that. And these people do.
I'm not going to speak as a matter of fact, but more of what I know, and that's the 14th Amendment does not discriminate between citizens and non-citizens, and that's actually not true to the Constitution. Now, you reference the Constitution consistently. If we start to ignore the parts that we personally disagree with, the entire document has holes in it. And if it has holes, then it's as good as nothing, because the document is only good as the respect we give it. With Abrego Garcia, my issue with that situation was not him, it was the due process he wasn't given. Now, he could have had something that could have spoken to why he should have remained, but I don't, as to the
Abrego
trials...
Garcia was given due process. He's an El Salvadorian citizen, and in 2019, 2 separate judges ruled that there was enough confidential evidence to say that he was indeed a member of MS-13. He was the only thing, and the only issue that I might agree with you on is that possibly he shouldn't have been deported to El Salvador. However, because it was stipulated that he could be deported, but not to El Salvador in 2019. However, the conditions that made it so, he was afraid of rival gangs in El Salvador. Those conditions have been cleared up by Bukele. Okay, so he does not. His claim of asylum was denied in 2019 before any of you ever knew he existed. This man was adjudicated twice as a member of MS-13. So he did, that is his due process. And if he came back here, the only thing that would happen is they would deport him somewhere else. He's an El Salvadorian citizen. He's now out of that high security facility. He's in a nicer facility. I know you're so concerned, but he's an El Salvadorian citizen and he's never coming back here. He got his due process in 2019.
To that,
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Do you feel like anybody here has been disrespectful to you while we've been having this conversation?
None of you have been disrespectful to me. I have seen disrespect towards others. I believe, Mikey, you've shown the most disrespect to people. But it has, I think it...
Well, there was a reason why I was asking you the question. I think that everyone here has been extremely respectful and tried to engage in a productive conversation with you. There's a man over there who's been shouting and literally swearing at her while she was speaking. He was just shouting, "Fuck you" at her while she was talking. Do you have a problem with that?
I guess to answer
You have to think about it.
I don't have to think about it. That's protected under the First Amendment, and my belief in our foundational documents supersede whatever I might feel about if I'm personally bothered by that
Okay,
speech.
whatever Mikey
that's
said,
the
is that
cost of
protected
liberty.
under the First Amendment?
Of course, but that has nothing
Okay,
to
so why are there two standards happening?
There's not.
Why is it okay for this man to scream "fuck you" at a woman who's trying to respectfully answer your questions, but whatever it is that Mikey might have said, you felt the need to redress us about it? I'm curious. Why is that okay?
I never said it was okay.
You did. You said you don't have a problem with it because it's constitutionally protected.
I said I don't have a personal problem with it. Neither do I.
I'm curious why.
Because of the First Amendment. Now I'll clarify to say that, Mikey, I don't have a problem with what I perceive as your disrespect towards others. You're also guaranteed
What is my
that
disrespect towards others?
it has to do mostly with the tonality and the
What's
way...
my tonality?
Aggressive.
But this is fine.
That's also disrespectful.
I'm actually glad this is happening because I got to be honest with you. I've really liked your demeanor. I've liked the way you've presented yourself. I think of probably just about anybody who approached the microphone. I think you did it with the most earnestness, and I think the most interest in actually having a productive conversation. But at the same time, you still radiate hypocrisy because you've shown us so clearly that there's a clear double standard that you apply to the liberal side of the aisle that's behaving so disrespectfully over there, absolutely inappropriately, but you're only able to, you feel some kind of way about something that you saw from us, apparently, and there's a completely different standard that you don't even notice there's anything wrong with what he's doing.
I'd like to clarify,
Or that he's swearing at a woman.
Both are disrespectful. Both are okay under the Constitution. Now, whether
Can I
I
ask you another
personally agree with one or the other has to do with a difference in the matter of how I would treat individuals. But that's just me. Whether or not you did, in a way, twist my words because you wouldn't let me finish whether if I said both were disrespectful. They're both fine under the Constitution, and I believe that trumps any personal opinion I have to the matter of speech.
Can I ask another question? So the same answer that you just gave regarding his behavior, would you give the same answer if there were 4 black... I'm sorry, can I ask you a question?
Can I step in really
would
quick?
would you have the same answer if there were 4 black liberal women here and a white man shouting them down and screaming "fuck you" at them? Would you think that was equal? Would you have the exact same opinion?
Is it okay
I'm not asking you. You just cut the line. You just cut in front of a line of people. I understand, but I'm asking him a question. He's not running this event, okay? Okay, so you don't have the right to cut the line and interrupt the conversation. It's not up to him to tell you that. It's not his event. I will let you speak.
Mr. Straka, in terms of yelling at a woman, please don't do it either. If he will, you don't either. Now, Mr. Straka, if I'll answer your question before, but I would like to also sacrifice my last bit of time.
I don't yell at women who follow the rules, and don't come up here with a sense of entitlement that they don't have to follow the rules. If she follows the rules, she'll be treated respectfully. Go ahead.
To answer your question, I will call out disrespect from anyone, no matter of race, no matter of color, no matter of background, because for me it's a matter of principle. You were disrespectful. He might have been disrespectful to you.
He might have been. Might have been. He screamed "fuck you" at her. Will you call that out? You just said you'll call it out whenever you see it. Will you please do it?
It's disrespectful to you.
Will you please turn to him and say that the same way you said it to us?
Okay. To answer that next thing,
Will you please call out his disrespect? You said you'll call it out whenever you see it.
I already did, Brandon.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Will you please call out that disrespect?
Disrespect?
Yeah.
It is disrespectful for him
Will
to
you
yell
turn
at
to
you,
him and say it to him?
but you have the right to, and I respect your right, and that you're exercising it.
I don't know what the fuck I did.
Yeah, you're weak. You're so weak. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Now,
thank you.
This is my friend who the other members of the line have agreed, just as you gave to others.
All
I
right,
would like
thank
to
you very much. Thank you. You just showed your true colors. Thank you.
Really shocked. I was so respectful coming up here. I was not expecting that kind of response from you. I just wanted to say something 2 seconds because I thought of a good thing I think he should have said. You cannot call him weak and then point fingers at them for saying disrespectful things. That's free speech. The whole point of free speech is that it goes across the aisle. Unfortunately, it covers everything. Sometimes I wish it didn't because of my own personal biases, but that's not fair because things that he's saying you find greatly offensive. Wait, hold on, I'm sorry. 2 seconds, I swear. And I'm not even going to respond to what you're saying. I just wanted to make a point really quickly. I have to get to a meeting. But you find his speech incredibly offensive. Perfectly okay.
No, I don't.
Well, yes, you did. You wanted him to point to him
No,
and
I
say
don't.
it was rude.
Oh, him. Oh, him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought.
I don't know who you're standing there.
Yeah.
We find the things that you're saying incredibly offensive as well. I find all of your signs incredibly offensive.
Okay.
The way that we want to conduct ourselves, nobody's perfect. To try to point fingers, you're coming here with antagonizing messages. These are very controversial things to say on a very liberal college campus. So then when us college students who are trying to get an education, we're passionate, we care, we have a sense of unity on our campus, we're all Titans. So when we feel offended and we start reacting to that, you point fingers and say, proof liberals are all brainwashed. Look at your reactions. That's not fair. You can't come to a campus, antagonize, and then blame us for feeling emotional after it. What I'm saying is that your signs, I would say, are a big fuck you to everyone here.
They're not, because if you come up and talk, all of our signs, I'm not telling you how I feel. I'm telling you the intention. The intention behind our signs is to start a conversation. All of these things are things that leftists have said to us when we walked away that we have flipped on its head. That gentleman, the thug over there, he ripped up the sign. if you come up and talk to us, oh, he's a thug. When you steal property and rip it up, that's a thug behavior. And I don't care what color you are. When you come up and talk to us, you understand we have all said that we believe Black Lives Matter. We believe they don't matter to Democrats. You cannot compare our signs, which are inviting a conversation and giving you the mic. We've even switched mics to accommodate people who think we're pulling crazy stuff, to this, and to what a lot of the people in this crowd have done, to stealing a sign, to ripping it up, to yelling like this. There is no comparison. I'm sorry. And a lot of you need to toughen up because life is going to get harder from here. You're not going to have a warning that we're exercising free speech. You need to toughen up most of all.
Yeah, 100%.
I think respectfully.
Yeah, you are.
Who are you to tell us what we're allowed to be offended by? Who are you to tell me this? Yes, you are. I told you. Hold on. I'm responding. I'm speaking. I'm responding. Okay. You don't care that I have free speech and that I can respond?
You're straw manning. I didn't say what you're allowed to be offended by.
You did.
You're welcome to be offended.
Ma'am, I'm responding. Ma'am, please let me finish what I'm saying. I'm going to say a couple of things. I'm going to walk away because I have a meeting to get to, and you're not my top priority today. But you
cut the line, but sure.
I just wanted to say something. You see, you are being antagonizing. I have been respectful. I have been calm. I'm not name calling. I'm allowed. That is what I believe. See, you are looking at us. You expect us to respect your beliefs, agree with you, and validate what you're saying. But then when we come up and we say something you disagree with, you say we're wrong. Then why are you so shocked when we're upset at what you're saying?
But I want to answer the question you just asked. You were saying you made some comment about us feeling some kind of way about you being offended. We don't feel any way about you being offended, but it's about what you. Hold on.
That's not what I said. You interrupted me.
It's about what you do with those feelings. And exactly. You can behave like this, or you can be offended, take a breath and say, I want to learn more about this thing that's making me feel offended, and I want to have a productive conversation about it. And see, that's the problem. Do you get it?
Do you think coming to a college campus with offensive signs is really the best way to have conversation?
Do you think it's productive to tell people who support Donald Trump that they're racist, bigots, and Nazis?
When did I say that? When did I say that? You're starting a whole new conversation that I did not walk into.
Don't act like this is not something that's said on a daily basis.
Sir,
okay?
I did not bring that up.
So, but you know what's interesting?
I didn't even say a question when I came up here. All I said was it is silly for you to come to a college campus with antagonizing signs and then be so shocked and offended when students react.
No one's offended. No one's offended.
She was very offended.
I'm offended that you were putting words in my mouth. I'm not offended.
Like how you just did to her.
You're putting words in my mouth. He's trying to start bringing up race and color to a conversation that's irrelevant.
We're not standing at a funeral with signs saying God hates gays. We have these signs and giving you a mic to have a conversation with us. All of these things are things that leftists have said to us and we flip it on our heads. Like I've already said, when you have a conversation with us, you understand that Black Lives Matter to all of us. We don't think they matter to the Democrat Party, which is part of why we walked away. I'm not offended that any of you are offended. I'm offended at the idea that you're putting words in my mouth because there is no comparison to what we are doing. You compared what we are doing to what he is doing.
It is comparison.
Right, exactly. So I'm not putting words in your mouth because you made that false comparison.
It is just because you disagree with it.
It is objective. Do you think objective reality exists or not? Objective reality does exist. There is no comparison to what is happening here.
So you're trying to spin it like I'm in some hypothetical
I'm not spinning it. Objective reality exists. There's no comparison to us giving you a mic to what this gentleman is doing, to stealing the sign and tearing up the sign. There's no. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right. I'm saying it's bad behavior. It's juvenile behavior. It's thug behavior.
You're on a college campus.
Immature behavior.
You are coming to a college campus.
Yeah.
And you are expecting us to act.
And so are you. You're on a college campus. So sometimes you're going to hear things you disagree with. And you need to develop the skills to deal with that before you go out into the real world. Because you're not always going to be protected by campus police when your feelings get hurt.
You're coming here to be
okay? And sometimes
have a great day.
Yeah, exactly. You need to grow up and quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, is this thing on? Yeah, okay. You were real eager to let the thug word slide back there. I think you were waiting. You were waiting for that.
Out thug behavior.
You were waiting on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had like a real palpable. You just let that fly.
Yeah, I'm able to call things like they are. It was reality. That's thug behavior. He came up and stole a sign and ripped it up. Are you kidding me? People paid for these. He's so fragile and offended that he needed to take the sign, and our security guard had to chase him down. That's thug behavior. Why am I not allowed to call a spade because he's a black man?
You want me to call a spade? You like the evil stepmother from fucking Cruella de Vil. I don't give a fuck.
There's no evil stepmother in Cruella de Vil, but okay, thank you. Are you talking about the beautiful stepmother from Snow White, I guess? You're mixing up your Disney movies,
The one that turns into
okay.
a hag? Yeah, sounds like you. Anyway. But anyway, hey, I noticed you were wearing a Suspiria shirt. That's a really good movie. I like that movie. I don't really know where I was going with that. I just wanted to point that out.
Right, you were just coming up here to call people names and to make offensive comments towards women, which were celebrated by your liberal cohorts over
here. No, I do
here.
have something to say, and I'm also not a liberal, so...
No, but I mean, can you appreciate... I know that you can't, so there's no point in me asking this question.
I can't what?
But you came up here
I can't what?
to defend the behavior of somebody who stole our signs and her using the word thug.
Oh, no, I'm not here to...
And then out of the other side of your mouth, you made a pejorative comment about a woman and a woman's looks to her face. So why is that okay for you to do, but she can't call somebody who steals and destroys property a thug? Why is that okay?
I never said they couldn't do it. I'm just pointing it out.
No. I want to answer to the question, why is what you just did okay? Explain it.
I never said it wasn't okay, and I never said what they did was okay. I'm just pointing it out.
So can you say that what you just did was wrong?
Fine, what I did was wrong.
Can you apologize?
No, not really. I don't give a fuck.
Why? So okay.
I don't apologize
So you
to
know
Nazis.
it's wrong, but you're not going to apologize.
Where are the Nazis?
You look like Richard Spencer, you fucking idiot.
Okay. Oh, here we.
Who
You're so out of control of your emotions right now. It's like literally. I got to be honest. We have been on so many college campuses. This is the highest level of immaturity that we've ever seen, like bar none.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm really proud.
You guys, I'm kind of surprised we're not at a middle school right now. To be honest with you, we've never seen this before, and we've seen some emotional reactions. But like the level of emotional maturity on this campus is an all-time low. I've never seen this before. You guys have seriously got to grow up. Grow the hell up. Do you have a question, or do you just want to make fun of people's personal appearances?
Well, I can do
and
both.
get celebrated.
Yes, I do have a question.
By your juvenile cohorts
Yes,
for it.
I do have a question. Sir.
Go ahead.
Do you think that Elon Musk is a Nazi?
No, I don't.
Okay, then do the salute right now.
Oh,
Was it a Nazi salute?
it's like the 900th
Was it
time.
a Nazi salute?
I'll tell you what. I'm going to make you a deal right now. I will do what Elon did if you will do what Barack Obama and AOC did. I'll show you the picture of what they did, and we'll do it together. How's that sound?
I'm good.
Why are you good? Oh, that's weird.
That's a false equivalency, and you know it.
Oh, I do?
You show those pictures out of context. He clearly does a salute.
Okay. All right.
Saying my heart goes out to you.
Okay, do the pose right now.
You do Barack
You
Obama.
first. I'm challenging you.
Okay, calm down. Calm down.
You first.
Take a Xanax.
Oh, yeah, I'd hate to be called
Calm
a thug.
down. All right. I are we done here, or is there more?
I don't know. Are we?
Okay. No. Do you have a question?
Yeah, my question was, do you think Elon Musk is a Nazi, and did he do a Nazi salute?
No, I don't think he's a Nazi. No, I don't think he did a Nazi salute, and I'm happy to do what he did if you'll do what Barack Obama and AOC did.
Why do I have to do something in order?
Why do I have to do something you want me to do?
Because it's your forum and you're asking questions. I asked you to do
This is not a forum where you get to come up and tell me what to do.
I didn't. I asked you to do something. You don't seem to have a problem with it, so why don't
I
you?
asked you to do something. Why is what's good for me not good for you? Why do you feel that you can control me?
I don't.
Well, then either we're both going to do it together, or we're not doing it.
Why don't you explain to me why are you not outraged? If you truly think that Obama and AOC did a Nazi salute, then why aren't you outraged about that?
Because we don't think that.
Okay,
Right.
Then why are you comparing the two?
What?
Why are you comparing the two then?
Because
bullshit to bullshit.
Right.
One of them is actively, he does the pose. He does a salute. The other one, it's an out-of-context screenshot where they're waving hi. That is not the same thing. That is not even remotely the same thing.
He approached the microphone and he said, "From
He
my."
did it twice.
He said, "From my heart
the
to
exact
yours."
Same pose.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, do you have any compassion for neurodiverse people?
You clearly don't. You clearly don't.
No. I'm asking you if you do.
Yes, I do.
Do you think it's possible that due to his autism and him being on the spectrum, that perhaps he might have?
He does a Nazi salute?
No.
Are you saying that autistic
the
people are
fact that the
Nazis?
way that he waved hello to everyone might not have been the most socially appropriate thing to do, which is a standard condition of a lot of people who have autism.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, is it possible?
It is possible. Here's another thing. But if that
what is
if
more
that
likely?
the case, he never apologized. He never said, I apologize that it looked that way, because he did a Nazi salute. Many people interpreted it as a Nazi salute.
Yeah,
and
you interpreted it as a Nazi salute.
clarify.
That's correct.
He did not clarify. So it
because
shows to show that he doesn't mind.
he did clarify
it means
it.
that he doesn't mind people thinking that he's a Nazi, and he certainly
Because
doesn't help
it's
because
stupid. Like, not everyone.
He have done it. Do you believe that we live in a white supremacist
Yes,
country?
I do.
Okay.
I fully
so
do.
then why are Nazis covering up their alleged Nazi salutes with "My heart goes out to you"? If it's so blatantly white supremacist and Trump has emboldened everyone, then why is this alleged Nazi saying "My heart goes out to you"? Why isn't he just doing the Roman salute just out in the open? Because you believe that we live in a white supremacist country, so why doesn't he feel emboldened by being Trump's, one of his right-hand men?
And why haven't we seen it since then? Why isn't he doing it every day? Why are we talking about that? Why are we choosing one instance from months ago
It's not just one instance. Have you seen his Twitter feed?
of him doing Nazi salutes?
No, of him reposting and engaging with all of these neo-Nazi accounts, and he has not once condemned them.
Well, are these neo-Nazi accounts, or is this once again you show us on the doll where you see the Nazis?
You just called her a Nazi 5 minutes ago. If everyone's a Nazi, then no one's a Nazi. And I've never known Nazis to be so shy about their beliefs. What are his Nazi beliefs? Who are the Nazis he's protesting?
I think it's a fair question. Like, why are we not seeing this salute all the time and from lots of people? Is that something to think? No. I can see the wheels, I can see your brain short-circuiting right now. Like, why do you think that we're not seeing the Nazi salute every day from Elon Musk?
I'm surprised that you know what a brain functioning looks like, considering
Well,
you've
okay.
seen it once in your entire life.
But can I get an answer, though? Because this is your assertion that he's bringing back the Nazi party and that this is what... So what's happening? Why are we not seeing it?
Yes, that's true. He is associated with the far-right party in Germany who are espousing Nazis-like beliefs.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You do see.
Can't show that he did a Nazi salute.
He clearly did a Nazi salute twice. I'd be happy to show you the video.
AOC and Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
Fine, then they're all Nazis too. Fuck them too. I don't care.
Okay.
Everyone's a Nazi. You get a Nazi. You get a Nazi. Everyone's a Nazi.
Do the salute if you're not. Do the salute if you're not afraid. If everyone's a Nazi, do the salute right
The
now.
funny thing is that one side of Nutjob sees evil Nazis in plain sight everywhere, and the other side of Nutjob sees evil Jews everywhere. Y'all deserve each other. I do like your clue button, though.
It's not a clue button.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Hey, actually, I feel like we should start. I feel like it's gotten pretty tense.
Can you? You
So I
do?
feel like it's a little tense. So I feel like, I'm sorry. I don't want to yell into the mic. I just want to say I do have a really important question. I'm pretty independent, especially on this issue. And actually, it's like a personal thing that just happened to me. So I was out having lunch with my friend, and I was trying to back out, and he kind of was playing chicken with me. So he backed in front of me. So I was like, okay, well, he's not moving. So should I I tried to kind of go forward a little, reverse and then pull out. But when I did that, I accidentally scratched the front of his car. So I feel like it kind of feels like we're both 50-50 in the wrong. I want you guys definitely feel I was like, well, I need to ask someone. I don't know if a cop is gonna, because it's more of a civil thing. So I was like, okay, so who are the most educated people? What do you guys say? I've also, especially 4 people. It's better than 1.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Well, actually, I actually will say, you guys should check out the TSU. It's actually really nice. I started going there recently because you do make a good point. I feel like a lot of people who are kind of fat like me, it takes a lot of work to get that thing into your head of eventually you got to just go and do it.
It's just this is exactly.
Honestly, I do think
again,
it's
we just made the point about the maturity level on this campus, and it's we can actually have a conversation and try to figure out where there's common ground. We can try to figure out, and by the way, I've even heard students say things today that kind of opened my mind, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I want to look into that. I want to learn more about that. I mean, I don't think we've ever done an event where I haven't something hasn't turned on a light bulb in my brain where I'm like, I might want to kind of think about that or learn more about that or possibly change my mind or move on that. But I got to say, it's been really disappointing here today for the most part.
No, I mean,
really, honestly,
No, I can agree.
Yeah, I know that you don't,
these kinds of debates
but this is supposed to be an institution of higher learning. And it's disappointing to see that this is the baseline maturity level that's happening at this college campus. Your joke was super funny. You totally owned us. It was brutal. Thank you. Can we move on to the next one?
I genuinely don't know.
No, I know you. I know you don't. No, it's great. It's still as funny as it was 2 minutes ago. Yeah, there's somebody waiting behind you who wants to ask a question.
I don't care. I was just hoping. Oh, dude, go ahead, man. Okay, all right. Hey, good luck with your, thanks again, though.
No, it was great. Thank you. Super funny.
First of all, I don't believe anyone should be yelling at each other. So, I do think that it's valuable to have points of views like this to like bounce our points of views off, and I don't think like hatred is really the way to go about it either way. I'm not saying like either side has been like correct or incorrect about anything, but I do have a question about immigration, just to like see what your point of view is on it. So I come from an immigrant family. My family came here around in like the 2000s, and it took us about 7-8 years to like legally get into the country. Yep. And I was just gonna ask if you think that it would be valuable to like ease the process of immigration, and if we should do that at all, because I do know that myself, and a lot of other people that I know personally have been affected by how long it does take to come into the country legally. So there are like illegal immigrants, and I do see that, but at the same time it is extremely difficult to come into the country like legally, especially with like the time span that it takes to come here and get all your documents, get everything, and become an American citizen.
No, first of all, it's a great point that you made. I love the way that you said it. I think it's a great topic. I personally agree with you. I think our immigration process is I think it's cumbersome and needs to be looked at, and probably there needs to be a significant amount of reform. There are a lot of really great people that I know and I'm friends with who immigrated to our country who've also indicated that their process was unbelievably arduous and went on for an incredibly long time. I do think that there's probably such a thing that because I think the fact that we have so many people in our country illegally does not help that process move along any faster for the people who are trying to do it the right way. But to simply answer your question in the simplest terms, yes, I do think that we probably need reform. And I think that the process I don't think it needs to be made easy. I don't think it should be easy to immigrate to our country, but I don't think that it should be prohibitive for people. Anybody else?
I don't disagree. I agree with everything he just said, and I think you bring up a good point. I will say the solution to that is not just to come in illegally or to allow many millions to come in illegally. And I would say that the people who do go through that arduous process, while we all might agree it should be streamlined, those people are oftentimes the most offended at what the previous administration has done, because you've allowed many millions to now skip the line, and people have put in sometimes 10 years of work, like you just indicated. But I agree with what you both just said.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate that. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, good. Hello. Oh boy, he's taking his hat off. Uh-oh.
I just wanted to know how you guys are doing right now. And really, I'm coming up completely bare. I don't really know much about anything. I have an idea of what the last person just came up and said about immigration and how I can feel about that. But when I look at these signs, I feel like it's not about emotion anymore. It's just about what can we do about what can we push forward with facts. So yeah, sorry if I'm like trying to gather my words as I'm processing like what I'm doing right now is a fact. I'm recording all of this, trying to make it public on what others may feel as I feel right now. Cause
what are you feeling?
I feel like some things are correct on these signs, but most things can't be forced onto others. Like, I'm not saying you're forcing, but to be out here is very brave in itself, and for others to come up like me, I'm trying to understand why do we need to even clarify things as like privacy for a person who wants to be trans, a person who wants to have their child aborted, a person who wants privilege for their body rights, an immigrant who wants to come home, who wants to go into another country, try and make a home.
Well, they can. I mean, people can immigrate to our country, and we do have an immigration system, and none of us are against having an immigration system or having immigration. And I do want to let you know, too, when we started this event today, when we were getting set up, the first people who came and approached me were a group of about 4 or 5 guys, all young Mexican guys, and they said, who are you guys? What are you about? And I started explaining it to them, and they said to me, do you like Trump? And I said, well, I didn't used to, but I do now. I do support Trump now. And the one guy said to me, so does my dad. And I was like, really? And I said, what about your mom? And he goes, oh, yeah, she loves Trump, too. And I said, you're a Mexican kid, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, which generation immigrated to our country? And he said, my grandparents. My grandparents immigrated to this country. So I said, so your dad's dad was an immigrant to America, and his grandfather, this kid's grandfather's son, is now a legal citizen and a supporter of Donald Trump. And then the other kids started chiming in too, and they were indicating that they like Trump. And I thought this is really interesting because we've got here these young Mexican kids. Some of them are second generation. I don't think any of them were first generation, although I'm not sure. But now after, just a few generations in this country, they are legal citizens. They're the descendants of legal citizens, and they're supporters of Donald Trump, who allegedly hates Mexicans. Now, I see you having a very sort of emotional, I don't know which signs you're looking at, and I'm interested in having a conversation with you. But it's curious to me that you feel such kind of a visceral emotional reaction when our mission overwhelmingly is to bring more freedom, more choice, and more opportunity to all people in this country, regardless of your skin color, your gender, your whether you're an immigrant or not. What is it that you feel emotionally an emotional reaction about?
Democrats are the real fascists. Can we start off with that then?
I can. The last administration, we just lived through 4 years of Joe Biden. The Biden administration, we know for a fact, contacted social media companies and told them to ban and delete people's accounts who questioned COVID, who questioned vaccines, who questioned his son and the discovery of his son's laptop. And the social media companies went along with it because they were threatened by the government. The Biden administration deployed the FBI to arrest Christians who were out protesting in front of abortion clinics. They were told to arrest parents who were speaking out against COVID policies at school board meetings. And I won't even get into what they did to the January 6th defendants. So, I mean, those are just a few examples of things that the Biden administration did. Weaponized the government and weaponized the Department of Justice and the FBI against its own citizens for daring to question the government, which is every American citizen's constitutional right. Does anyone else want to speak on it?
Well, on September 9th, 2021, Joe Biden tried to mobilize OSHA to have anyone who worked at a company, any American who worked at a company with over 100 employees fired if they wouldn't take the shot. And, to me, that's a little bit fascist. So Donald Trump didn't try to do that. That was a huge thing for me. Joe Biden frequently, and I know that a lot of people here probably support the idea of transferring student loan debt, but Joe Biden openly bragged about the fact that the Supreme Court tried to block him but could not stop him from transferring student loan debt to the taxpayers. So if you're talking about fascism, I think that the Democrats, particularly Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, have done a good job of being an example of that. Oftentimes, you just listed a bunch. This is a bunch. You seem to think that it's just Donald Trump being this crazy fascist. A lot, not you, sir, but a lot of people on this side. And yet, there's a lot of overlooking of what the Joe Biden administration just put us all through.
I just want to go back to something you'd said just before, is that I think where a lot of the misunderstandings and the divisiveness in this country comes from is that we can no longer agree on basic words and terms. You said immigrants deserve to be here, but you don't mean immigrants. We mean illegal migrants. You said trans people deserve a right to live, but we're not talking about trans people. We're talking about children who are being indoctrinated. You said women deserve the privilege over their own body, but we're not talking about their own body. We're talking about their baby's body. So we need to have a common understanding of what words mean.
My reflection of this, what I'm going to walk away with, is I see a lot of potential ground to gain from just talking and just gaining more information of what we can talk about. Obviously, on my side, I need to research more on Donald Trump and other Republicans who've already burned in our future generations to come. Not to say that both Democrats and Republicans are both good. I'm not looking at both good and bad. I'm just trying to understand the best way not to get manipulated anymore, I suppose.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's 100% our message, 100%. And we're not here today to shill for the Republican Party or to shill for Donald Trump. That's not why we're here. We're here to encourage all people to read more, research more, do your own homework, stop being manipulated, and to say that the left wing, to say that the media in general is dividing, manipulating, and exploiting all of us to some degree. And you have a very nice heart, and it shows.
Look, the heart part is hard to say for a lot of people, especially in the world we live in now. What your words mean, especially, what words can mean. We've lost a lot of meaning in that. When you say another woman's body is their child, of course, that is a creation that is coming through them that's going to live off into the future. But you can't look at the future and then ignore what's happening now to say what is good or bad, to say is this right or wrong. I'm not trying to fight or force what has to be happen or what should be done. What I feel like is,
I get what you're saying, and I agree. It seems like you have a very kind heart, and the reality is, we agree on a lot of stuff. I think we disagree on how to achieve certain things. And what you just mentioned about, like, you know, whether or not something is good or bad depending on when it is, where I disagree on is that if there is such a thing as objective truth and objective morals, these things transcend time. So it doesn't matter if it's now or tomorrow or next year, right is right and wrong is wrong. And the reality is, it seems that a lot of people want to ignore those standards, and if you don't have standards, then anything goes, you know. And I think that's where a lot of people are talking over each other, is we can't come to an agreement on basic truth and reality. And that's why we're here. We want to spark conversation. I don't want to argue with people. And you know, and I think, again, we are all people who used to be on that side. I would have been just like a lot of these people shouting down. I was one of those angry leftists, but until the consequences of the things that I believed in ended up on my doorstep, it was only then that I started reconsidering the things that I believed.
If we go back to like the root of this all, it's not really just agreeing to disagree. We're trying to find a way to make other people see what has...
You're doing great.
I have to like really just ground myself in what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to be Democratic or trying to be Republican pro-viewing, but the whole world as it is right now, I feel racism in itself has sparked a new fire because under Donald Trump, if I have to say that. I do see a lot of what you said earlier. I want to hear more about the January 6th, but I don't want to take away too much time, obviously. Thank you so much for today, and I will come back.
Thank you. Sorry, I just want to say really quickly, we're going to begin wrapping up when the line is over, so we're gonna ask that please no new people line up because we want to finish the line, and then we'll wrap up for the day.
I don't have much to say. I just want to say this. Do you guys think Donald Trump's a racist or not? Like, straight up, like...
I do not.
No?
I do not.
Personally, no?
No.
You don't think people that follow and support him are racist? Like, in majority are, you know...
No.
No?
No.
You just said, do you think the majority of people who support Donald Trump are racist? The majority of this country voted for Donald Trump in this last election. So you think that the majority of the United States of America in 2025 are racists?
Since we're gonna pull this out, we're gonna pull out that little whiteboard thing, because I'm not trying to be like racist myself, but I know for a fact I get a lot of white people with their views, and at least I work as an Uber driver, right? And I get a lot of different views, and I generally speak up to them and tell them how it is. Like, you do realize, like, that has a negative effect towards, like, you know, a certain demographic of people and stuff. And without thinking, like, it has to come with repercussions, right? Do you guys agree or believe, like, an illegal immigrant is the same as comparing them to an actual criminal?
By virtue of being here illegally, they're a criminal.
Really?
That doesn't necessarily mean that they're committing violent crimes.
That's all I want to know, at least so what I could take away from this. I was talking to him, sorry. Not you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were...
No, not yet.
Me?
So you were talking to me very directly before. So you believe, right, that an illegal immigrant is the same as a criminal. So
Not necessarily a violent criminal.
No. Because we have people that are taken away from ICE, right? We have natural citizens, born citizens. That could be me. No. You're shaking your head, but there was an actual case.
Natural citizens aren't being deported.
No,
there are no
they
American citizens being deported.
Well, you can do your research because there's a lot of research that I could do.
Who are the American citizens being deported?
It could be literally.
Yes.
Me personally, I'm a born natural citizen because my parents were both immigrants, but I was born here.
So what do you have to worry about? Same, my family are
that's
immigrants.
That's the thing. Cases, since you guys seem unaware of it, since you guys seem like, immigration is a very good thing, do you realize how fucked up our immigration system is in general? No.
Wait, but you're changing the subject. Who are the American citizens being deported?
It could be like, in this case, mainly focused on Mexican immigrants. At least.
Why? If they're here legally, you're a citizen just as I am.
It could be the same like an Italian immigrant. It could be the same as a Swedish.
My family are Italian
immigrant.
immigrants. No, we're not getting deported.
They don't fit the demographic. They don't look the part.
But I think that's the issue, is that because we have been told by the mainstream media that Trump is a racist and his supporters are racist, that they're going to be hunting down Hispanic American citizens. And it's not true.
The border, that's literally right down like 2-3 hours away.
Again with the mics.
There's no...
Well, the issue with the mic is that we are really projecting into the mics, and a lot of people that come up are, you are loud, but they're complaining they can't hear you.
It's fine.
I think... okay, but you're... to be fair, no immigrants of any color or nationality, no U.S. citizens of any color have been deported.
No, not yet.
But you're talking about something that has.
They've been taken illegally by ICE, and then they would have to not even by a fucking Suprema judge was able to get them out like 2 fucking weeks or like 2. I don't know how long it was. Like maybe like 2 days. I'm really like trying to like grab that information again, but that is a very true thing, and it's happening, and it's gonna get worse because we're letting people like you fucking say, "Oh, we're gonna fix it."
Okay, well, immigration does need to be fixed. We've already gone over the fact that we all would agree that we need to stream. Okay, but so what would you do with the many millions who are here illegally? Just let it.
What has been happening is we've been doing better.
So
now you just are making it a fucking problem.
We were doing better because of Donald.
A fucking immigrant the entire time that they're here. My parents can pay all the taxes that they want. They can pay for a fucking house. They can have their own business. But as soon as it becomes a fucking problem, someone's like calling them out. Like, are you illegal? Where are your papers? Fucking, that's a huge fucking problem. Now they're an illegal criminal. They're a criminal now.
It's really hard to have a conversation with you because we're talking about stuff that has not happened. We would all agree that deporting U.S. citizens would be really bad. And I'm sorry. Well, we're answering your question. I'm sorry if someone has come up. No, but you disagree with me. I'm not answering it terribly. I have not gone up to any people that look like they might be Mexican and accused them of being a criminal. I'm sorry that happened.
Like him, if he's like dressed like that, under plain clothes.
What did he do?
I'm not directly saying it to you. Just saying as an example, my friend.
What are you racially profiling?
I'm calling him.
You can't even name the name of someone who this happened to, though. No U.S. citizens have been deported.
We'll have to pull it up. Thank you, man.
That was a U.S. citizen you're claiming was deported.
Because these fools don't know. Thank you, man.
Oh wow! I didn't even expect to get jumped in the line. So sorry about that. Well, hello. My name is Anthony. Not trying to antagonize or anything. Just want different perspectives and whatnot. I really appreciate you guys coming to the campus, even though it's like a bit tense. But I love this.
Can you just keep your voice up, please?
Oh yeah. So sorry. You guys were asking about a specific case with a U.S.-born or like natural citizen being detained by ICE, at least, and according to the, let me see. Hold on. The American Immigration Council.org, in the case of Juan Carlos Lopez and Gomez, a U.S.-born citizen was detained by ICE in Florida under a new state immigration law despite presenting a valid birth certificate. Multiple reports and stories have surfaced on other U.S. citizens being detained or even deported by ICE, highlighting the issue of mistaken identity or flawed immigration enforcement procedures. So,
no U.S. citizens have been deported by ICE.
But detained. We were talking about specifically detained, but that, and this is his point.
Then you deal with it in court.
Yeah. No, this is now. No, your point.
All right, thank you.
Wait, can I just address that point really quickly? I mean, I think all of us would agree that if somebody is wrongfully detained, that's not a good thing. You know, and I don't think any of us are even having a flippant attitude about it. Like, oh, well, shit happens. Like, I don't think it's obviously that's a terrible thing. I think it's incredibly rare. And I think if you compared it to the number of times that any legal citizens are falsely arrested by the police or detained by the police for crimes they didn't commit because they were wrongfully accused or they just had the wrong person. I guess my point is we shouldn't just act like this is something that only happens in the immigration system. I think even legal citizens of our country are picked up wrongfully all the time.
And this is, to be fair, I mean, I agree. None of us want people to be wrongfully detained. That's not our goal. But this is a problem that, again, was exacerbated by Democrats because Biden had an open border until about a month before he was out. And so when you let in many millions, we are imperfect people. ICE agents are people. It's not my goal for them to just run rampant at all. But if we have many millions of unvetted people and we have mothers losing their children, Rachel Morin and Laken Riley, we do have to do something. That doesn't mean detain anyone. And I'm assuming that everyone here who's non-white has not been detained by ICE. I don't think it's just happening all over the place. But we're humans. We have an imperfect system. We have a huge problem. 12 to 20 million people. I don't know how you deal with that. And all I've really heard so far from the people coming up to the mic respectfully is just let it fly. Just let it happen. It doesn't matter. It's fine. And that's how we deal with it. That doesn't seem like a solution either, to be fair.
Agreed.
That's
Thank you.
Not the point of conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Make it good. You're our last one.
My name is Natalie. I'm not familiar with who you guys are, so can I get your names, please?
Sure. I'm Brandon Strock.
I'm Mike Harlow.
I'm also Natalie. Our names
twins.
are on the sign, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it now.
My name's Vanessa, but I go by Gothics. I'm a YouTuber.
Gothics. Okay. To the young gentleman earlier who was shouting at you guys, I saw that you guys pointed to the person here like, oh, it's hypocritical how you're coming for us, but not for them. I do think it was a little immature for that gentleman to be yelling at you guys, but you can't come onto a college campus and accuse us of being uneducated and immature when that's really what we're here for. We're here to be educated. We're here to be mature. And so for you guys to come on and say, oh, you guys are so emotional, the way that you guys are reacting, I'm like, last week we were threatened with ICE that they were on this campus. So this is a very high emotional state that we're in right now. So you can't really attack us for reacting by threats that are coming at us.
I actually appreciate what you just said. I will say it's an interesting perspective, and I think your point about being young and being here for the purpose of education, that's a good point, and I'll take that. Thank you. I do want to reiterate my response from earlier, which is that part of the reason why I think people go to college too, and whether you go to college, I didn't go to college actually. Did you go to college? You didn't go to college. None of us went to college. She did. Okay, she's the only one who went to college. But we do need to learn ways to deal with our feelings and our emotions when we feel upset or when we feel offended. And I think the first thing that needs to happen is if a person is feeling overwhelmed, they need to take a breath and find a way to calm down. And then I think start asking questions. And I mean that sincerely because I am somebody who, even though back in 2016 I voted for Hillary Clinton, I was a Democrat, but in 2020 and 2024, both of those I voted for Donald Trump. So I've been a Trump supporter now for 7 years, 8 years, something like that. Almost every day of my life, somebody either calls me a racist, a Nazi, a bigot, something that is completely not true, and I think much more offensive and much more damaging than anything that we've said here today. Let me put it this way. If I were walking down the street and there were 4 people who had signs and their signs said things like, all Republicans are racist, if you support Donald Trump, it's because you're a Nazi, I swear to you, it would not occur to me to start screaming and swearing and trying to drown them out and trying to blare music and play guitars and have noisemakers. I would get in line and I would wait my turn and I would say, see, none of that. It would never occur to me to do this. I would just respectfully wait my turn in line and then be like, I really want to talk about your signs because I disagree with you. And I would ask for examples. So I under your point is well taken, and it's I absolutely consider what you have to say, but it doesn't negate the fact that we need to find more mature ways to respond and to engage with one another so that we can understand each other.
Yeah, and that's why there's classes on campus here for that. But I don't know, like just the way that you guys come at us, it's a little bit like hypocritical in a way. Like, yes, we are uneducated. It's okay to admit that. But I feel like when you come at us, we start to get defensive, and it's hard to accept when we're wrong. So I feel like, not for you guys, but for everyone here, like it's okay to admit that you are wrong or uneducated about something, but to call someone immature for not knowing something or uneducated, though it may be true, it's taken the wrong way.
Can I just say, I really don't think that anyone here has used the word uneducated. I don't think that ever came. We did say immature for sure.
For action, and I do want to, yes, I was going to make that point that we didn't say anyone is immature because they're uneducated, and I don't think we use the word uneducated, but I'll also say that I understand your point too, but I don't know that you're ever going to get an education if you literally cannot, I'm not saying you, but anyone in this crowd cannot tolerate different ideas. If it is intolerable to the point where someone has to scream or steal or destroy property, what kind of education? It's a one-sided education. It's a very myopic education. And I don't know that you'll ever be educated in a diversity of thought and opinion. Just a thought.
And I very much appreciate what you're saying. Look, we're all uneducated in various capacities. However, this is something that us and people who are not leftists are constantly told. If you guys were just nicer, if you just did it. And I completely reject that. Meanwhile, as we've seen today, people who are on the left can scream, shout, lie, riot, assault, steal. And we are constantly told if people on the right were just nicer, then it would be okay and you wouldn't make them do that. And I just completely reject that. I think that doing that would allow radical leftists to continue consolidating power. They want a compliant, cowardly population. And I think the issue is that people like us have finally become a bit more brave and a bit bolder and started speaking up.
Well, I think that is because during this time in our political state right now, everyone is sort of on guard. We are trying to get our voice heard because Trump is in office. It is a little bit scary right now. I consider myself a Democrat, though I do not agree with everything Democrats say. I still consider myself Democratic, but it's scary where Trump is right now, his thoughts, his views. So I feel that everyone here, in a way, is justified for having that mentality, like when you're threatened to attack, but just carry it out like a right way, I guess. So I guess my question here was, what is, if you don't mind saying, like, what is your political stance?
So at this point, I'm a registered Republican. From a policy standpoint, I agree with much of what the Republican Party puts forward. Not every single policy. Excuse me. My issue with the Republicans in general, and I don't mean this condescendingly, I just... You may not be old enough to understand this yet because it's all based in stuff that's has to do with life experience. But like Republicans are, they're not really strong. They're not courageous. They're not. They can be very disloyal, and that's my issue with the party in general. But from a policy standpoint, I have much more in common with the Republican Party. I mean, honestly, I have very little at all in common with the Democratic Party anymore. That's what I used to be a Democrat. My problem with the Democratic Party is that it's extremely radicalized and that it has come to embrace far left radical values, which I think are extremely destructive and frightening. I mean, you say that you're frightened of Donald Trump. I find the left very, very frightening. That's me.
I'm an independent on the inside, but I vote Republican. I'm from New York City, had lived there my whole life. I thought I would never want to leave, and the city has really kind of been destroyed by Democrats. I moved to Florida. Things are a lot different in many ways. I became a Republican to vote for Trump. I cannot stand most Republicans prior to him. There is no universe in which I would ever vote for Bush, Cheney, McCain, any of those types, because they're everything that I'm against. I'm for individuality, liberty, anti-big government, anti-merging big government with big corporation, as Democrats have done for many years. So yes, I consider myself kind of independent, but I definitely vote Republican.
Isn't that where we're heading, though? Combining big government with big corporations with Elon Musk?
He's one individual, whereas I think that Democrats have had 100 different Elon Musks. You've had George Soros. So am I upset that we have one putting their money where their mouth is on our side? Not really, until it becomes a bigger issue. Whereas under Joe Biden's administration, you had small businesses had to shut down and big corporations could stay open. And they were telling people who to censor and who to shut up and which opinions were allowed. I think that is a much bigger threat. Not to mention the collusion between government and the pharmaceutical industry.
Small businesses had to shut down because of COVID. Correct, or
not big corporations, only small businesses.
Right, because big corporations have more money. Small businesses were affected by COVID, so I don't see how that's on the Democratic fault. I mean,
they were the one pushing this agenda the entire time. Then pushing vaccine mandates where people were put out of work, could not go out anywhere, could not sit at a lunch counter. I don't think the government has any right to falsely collude with Big Pharma over a fallacious scam of a vaccine that does not do what we were told it does and destroy people's lives under that premise. And especially, we had been told through all of 2020 that any policy which disproportionately affects black people is systemic racism. In New York and in basically every city, 75% of black New Yorkers were unvaccinated when they began vaccine mandates. 75% of black New Yorkers were segregated by the Democratic Party, and no one cared. The same people who said Black Lives Matter did not care that Democrats tried to bring back segregation.
Because that's not a race issue, that's a medical issue.
Sorry, say that again?
That's not a race issue, that's a medical issue. Being vaccinated?
No, but I'm holding them to their own standards. That they said policies that disproportionately impact black people, which this did, 75% of them, is systemic racism.
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. So you're saying that 75% of black people in New York decided not to get vaccinated?
Yes, at the beginning.
Okay, so that's a health issue. I don't see, did it say if you're black and not vaccinated, you can't work or you can't?
Because they were discriminated against for not being vaccinated.
But not for their race.
That's your point, right?
Yes.
Right.
Not for their race.
My point is I am holding Democrats to their own standards.
But you were discussing on a race point.
Which is their standards. I don't agree that it's racially based. I'm saying according to their logic and their ideology, that was the outcome.
For health issues, not race.
It's not health issues.
I think we'd all probably agree that maybe Black Americans have a greater reason to distrust the right? I mean, we all know about Tuskegee, and we were talking about equity earlier. So if we're talking about equal outcomes, it's disparate outcomes, and it disparately impacted Black Americans. So it doesn't really seem like it seems a little hypocritical because you're not taking into consideration all factors. I don't actually know how we got onto vaccines from oligarchs and all that, but you're not taking into consideration all the factors that might make a Black American more vaccine hesitant. And so then they're disproportionately impacted. And I would think that would be something that Democrats would be up in arms about, but they weren't, which is part of the reason I'm on this side of the table, because I was a Democrat before 2020.
Okay. I will have to research on that because I'm still a little bit confused, but I do want to move on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Hi again.
Hi again.
My name's Anthony. I'm kind of don't know where I stand politically anymore.
Keep it loud, Anthony. Please.
Kind of don't know where I stand politically
great.
anymore. Thank you. I think I'd consider myself more of a moderate, if anything, but like right-leaning, left-leaning. It's really up in the air right now. What I wanted to talk about was more out of curiosity. This conversation comes up a lot with my friends that are like super like super right leaning. When it comes to illegal immigration and whatnot, agreed that people should come in legally. I completely agree on that. And I also agree on your guys' point that we do seem to want the same solutions, but going about it is completely different. So the point of conversation that me and my friends always kind of stumble upon is that the generational view of illegal immigration and the implications of that, which kind of always leaves us in a stumble. So let's say their grandparents or even someone's parents come over here illegally, and then they have a kid. They have through birthright citizenship, they are now considered a U.S. citizen. And I was just curious on what are your guys' views on those kids now being like over the age of 21, being able to help their illegal immigrant or illegal migrant parents and helping them into citizenship. I was just curious about your guys' perspective on that.
Oh,
Like,
you're asking about children, U.S. citizens, children of illegal immigrants helping their parents into citizenship?
Yes.
That's your question?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was going to have a unpopular answer. No, I would not be against that.
Okay.
No.
So
you're talking about adult children of illegal immigrants helping facilitate their parents being naturalized.
Yes.
No, I'm not against that.
Okay, gotcha. It was just very unclear or muddy a little bit because earlier within the day that you guys categorized illegal immigrants by, and I understand by definition, coming here illegally does mean that they would be some sort of criminal, violent criminal, but criminal nonetheless. Unfortunately, by definition on the laws and whatnot. So by that perspective that you guys have, would their children be aiding in criminal activity? And do you guys want that to be prosecuted as such?
Not if you're talking about children, U.S. citizens being able to help their parents naturalize. I do want for everyone to be here legally. Mm-hmm. You know, so if there's a process to go through that because you have a U.S. born citizen, now this is unpopular in this crowd probably. I am against birthright citizenship for the children of illegals. This was something that was written into the Constitution for slavery. I don't think it was meant for many millions of people to come in and then have babies. And then we do have these complicated situations where then it's, do you separate a family or do you send home? And this just happened actually with two families. The media is framing it as that the Trump administration deported U.S. citizen children. That's not what happened. They deported their parents, and the parents wanted to take the kids with them, which is understandable. They were very young kids, and they have that right to take their children with them. But that is complicated because now you've got someone who's a U.S. citizen and also a very young minor. Or do you separate families? And nobody wants that. These are complicated issues, but I do think it is irresponsible to come here illegally and then to have children and then you don't have any papers, you don't have a green card, you don't have anything. I think that you should do whatever you can, even if that means having your adult children help you to become naturalized, because it is a problem to have people here, we don't know who they are, they're unvetted, and then we've got families with all different types of citizenship. I would want for everyone in the family to be a citizen. So yes, if there were a path to facilitate that, I don't think that's aiding criminals if you're talking about helping their parents become naturalized. If you're talking about hiding their parents in the attic, well, I understand why a child would want to do that, but that is aiding, you know, and that's a really hard situation. It's not my goal to have people suffer, but I am for Americans first. And I do want to know who's in the country. And if people are here illegally and we have no crystal ball to know who's going to commit a crime, who's going to be violent, who's going to do this or that. So then we find out later after the person's dead or raped or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. We do need to know who's here and we need to vet these people. That's just, and I think that's pretty reasonable, but I understand that it comes down to complicated situations. Exactly. And I want for everyone in a family to be here legally. And obviously I think this administration and also myself personally would prioritize violent people, people who have been convicted of a crime. That would be the number one priority.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, great. With that, we're going to wrap up today. Guys, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it. I think there were some good and productive conversations today. Not every moment was perfect, but we really appreciate Cal State Fullerton for allowing us to come today. Thank you for those of you who listened to what we had to say and asked questions. If you'd like to learn more about who we are and what we do, please go to walkawaycampaign.com. And thank you guys so much for coming out today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.